that shine so bright. We know we walk so tall and free. There's nothing wrong, so just dance like there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Yeah, there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Oh, there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Yeah, little Rosie, don't you cry. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. He always had the right to choose. We make it up like every day, like it's a game. We all know that there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Yeah, there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Oh, there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Yeah, little Rosie, don't you cry. I love so much, that will not change, that will not stop. You're special and you have big brains. You know this song, so just sing it with me. Big old lemon pie in the sky. Yeah, there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Oh, there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Yeah, little Rosie, don't you cry. One more time we're singing. Big old lemon pie in the sky. Yeah, there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Oh, there's a big old lemon pie in the sky. Yeah, little Rosie, don't you cry.
sweeter and that shit just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit it just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit it just won't go down. Corrosion, corrosion to her thighs, erosion, erosion of her pride. Baby's got it, baby's got it, baby's got it, right between her thighs. And shit went in my eyes and it made my baby cry. Shit went in my eyes and it made my baby cry. Yeah, baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit it just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit it just won't go down. Corrosion, corrosion between her thighs, erosion, erosion of her pride. Now, baby's got it, baby's got it, baby's got it, right between her thighs. And the shit went in my eyes and made my baby cry. Shit went in my eyes and it made my baby cry. Yeah. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit it just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit it just won't go down. Corrosion, corrosion to her thighs, erosion, erosion of her pride. Yeah, baby's got it, baby's got it, baby's got it, right between her thighs. And the shit went in my eyes and made my baby cry. Shit went in my eyes and made my baby cry. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit just won't go down. Baby's got a booger and a sweeter and that shit it just won't go down. Corrosion, corrosion to her thighs, erosion, erosion of her pride. Now, baby's got it, baby's got it, baby's got it, right between her thighs. The shit went in my eyes and made my baby cry. Shit went in my eyes and it made my baby cry. Yo! Baby's got it, baby's got it, baby's got it. Corrosion, no. Corrosion, no. Baby's got it.
Uh-oh. What they put us together for? This is not a police lineup. Good evening, folks. Or it might be. Who knows? Fuck it. It's New Year's Eve. Anything can happen on a crazy night like this. We got peoples here. We got guests. I didn't think anybody was going to show up, actually. And then Marcus said, I'll show up. Like, well, and that will be his undoing. Unfortunately. Marcus, how you doing, my friend? How's everything going?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here. Figured I was like, you know what? Hey, buddy Warren's giving an invitation to come on out, and I don't really do anything on. I don't really do anything normally anyway. So I'm like, you know what? Hey, I got the day off tomorrow. I could stay up for a little bit.
I know, right? It feels weird. It feels like a Saturday night. I feel like, why is Marcus here? He should be doing his show right now. But it's not Saturday. It might be Saturday somewhere around the world, but it's only Tuesday here. We're coming up on about 48 minutes before we enter here in the Central Time Zone in the United States. Before we enter into 2025 and that project 2025, you know, all the goodies that's going to happen, all the crazy shit, you know what's up. You know it. You already know, as the kids say. Hey, let me shout out everybody here.
Sure, of
Since
course.
they were so nice to show up. We got Rick in the house. Good to see you. Yeah, it's Saturday in another dimension. Another dimension. Another dimension. Another dimension. Remember the Beastie Boys song? Another dimension. Was that Intergalactic? Yeah. Do you like that song? Do you like Beastie Boys?
Intergalactic. Oh yeah, I know about
Intergalactic, planetary, intergalactic.
Oh yeah, I rock with some Beastie Boys.
I like a few. I like that one, and what's it? I can't stand it. I know you planned it. I'm gonna set it straight. This Watergate. Sabotage. Although Star Trek tried to ruin that song, they'll never ruin Beastie Boys for me.
And of course, you can't forget the classic "No Sleep Till Brooklyn."
No sleep till Brooklyn. You know what's funny? In a bit of irony, I fell asleep on the train on the way to Brooklyn after a night of imbibing. I fell asleep on the way to Brooklyn. I missed my stop totally, went all the way up to Jamaica Plains, which is in what we call way the fuck, up in Queens. It was at the end of the J line. So it was like 3 a.m. I was like, oh shit. So I had to wait for the train to leave again. It was a whole thing. But
so you actually prove them into being liars, because there actually is sleep till Brooklyn.
I failed them. I failed the Beastie Boys. I feel like it was a personal, like I was just trying to get home, right? And then the Beasties inadvertently lulled me to sleep, and then it totally wrecked the song for me now. So I'm just like, no, I can't listen to that song without saying, no, I call bullshit. That is fucking bullshit. There is sleep till Brooklyn. I did it.
Well, don't feel bad. You're not the only person who's fell asleep on a train. I did that leaving Chicago, going back up near Waukegan when I was in A school. I was like, where the hell am I? I don't know where this is. Children of the Corn are coming.
I tell you, I didn't like falling asleep on the trains in New York, not because I thought maybe somebody was going to harass me or rob me or something. It's the fucking rats, man. Have you ever seen that video of there's a guy and he's in a coat and he's just kind of chill on the train, and then all of a sudden this rat just goes and like gives them a little kiss. I'm like, oh, that's what I'm just like, those rats in the New York subway systems. The cats in New York are just like, no, fuck that. We're not dealing with that today. That is not on the agenda. We got Jaybird over on Rockfin. What's up? Happy New Year, Canada. We got Dingo Ate Me Baby over on Rumble. He says, Warren, you're lucky you didn't wake up with a hobo's dick in your mouth. Well, whoa. Is it really bad luck or is it good luck? I mean, that's kind of the I don't know. I don't want to go there. Choosy's here. What's up, Choosy? Choosy writing his memoirs again in the chat. I love Choosy, but Choosy be writing. Choosy be saying it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. I'm like, Choosy, it's the longest of times, dude. Seriously, you need to edit. I love Choosy. That's my staple in the mornings. Whenever I'm on and Choosy comes on, and then like half the chat's up at Choosy, I'm like, all right, Choosy, you go ahead. You let your freak flag fly, brother. We got Peace Doves in the house, and Cowboy Kitty and Snipe Hunter. We got the whole hee-haw gang here. Lainey Peterson's contacting us from the dirtiest of the deep south. She's down in Arkansas.
Oh, really?
Way. Yeah, she's Southern girl. She all thing, you know what I mean? She'd be spitting in that spittoon. Midnight Karma. What's up, Midnight? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We got Max Sarjay, Willie Bragg show in the house.
Hey, Willie.
Love Willie. Willie's good people. Willie's like the Vulcan ambassador of this space. You know what I mean? That fucker, he'll talk to anybody. I love him, man. He's just like, he is all about just, talking to people, We need more people like that. We have Cream Pie Ninja in the house. I guess make sure you clean up after yourself. Green Pie Ninja, you know what I'm saying. We got CBC voter, Nahilo. That's a
What's up,
crossover
Michael?
at. Yeah, no, Nahilo. I see Nahilo in all the chats. Nahilo's very learned from watching shows like
Well,
ours.
we've heard P Stuff, Laney, Nahilo. We've heard Dingo. It's a lot of it's gonna be an interesting night. Willie, and it's gonna be an interesting
Yeah.
night.
Chuck's here. Chuck's Intergalactic UFO Show. We got who else is here? Cape Socialist is here, but going by Steve Gill. I think that's his porn name. At least I hope so. We're just gonna say it is and just be done with it and never speak of it again. So who else have we got here? Zalipa is here. We got Kate's here. Stephanie is here. People digging the smooth tunes. I like bringing my friends' music on here. A, because it's copyright free. Let's be real. But two, it actually sounds good too, and the kids dig it. And I'm here, to please the kids. And we got Fred Edward too. I think we got everybody. And if you're late coming in, well, you'll just have to copy off someone else in the lecture today. So here we are, Marcus. We're on the cusp. Brew Bones. Oh wait, I got a couple. I got Brew Bones here.
Yeah, that's my sweetie there.
Oh, well, hello, sweetie. That's coming from Marcus. I channeled the sweetie. I got my buddy Don Culpepper over on the Facebooks. He and I have been round and round chasing that tail back in the day. Yeah, so a lot of good people in here tonight. Yeah, I guess 26 people watching. Jesus, ain't nobody going to parties? What's going on? Why
parties are for the young crowd?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I tell you, man, I'm like you, man. I don't want to. For one thing, going out these days for like New Year's is expensive as hell, right? Even if you're single.
Yeah.
But and then you got like a lady friend. The price goes up and up and up and up. Corbeck Williamstein, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, so I stopped doing that a long time ago when the shit got expensive, and I decided I didn't like hangovers in the mornings. I'll
if
have
you drink good liquor, it's not too bad.
Right.
Well, and also I used to have my sailor tolerance, and that's expensive enough even if you go to a cheap dive bar. But I ran up a tab one night, $300 by myself.
Ooh. Ooh. I hope it was good stuff.
Yeah. But that's why I said that Navy tolerance coming from overseas, and yeah.
Well, you are
New Year's parties.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, you're straight up right about liquor like that too. And pro tip for all those out there who are kind of amateur drinkers: if you're gonna get liquor, get the good stuff. Don't cheap out, because it's gonna taste like shit, and you're gonna have like a super hangover the next day, and it's just
well, also
it's just terrible. Yeah.
Pro tip for if you start getting, hitting those ages 30, 40, 50, as you get older, your body can't break down that cheap liquor the same way. So you got to start getting more refined spirits, and your body can handle that a lot better. It's kind of like, you got a more premium vehicle. You can't be putting that cheap shit in there.
Exactly. You can't be sitting there drinking Taka vodka, and thinking life is going to treat you well afterwards, because spoiler alert, it is not going to fucking happen.
Well, Laney's the wine connoisseur. Help us out.
I think Laney's got me more into the wine mindset now, or the wine set, as I like to call it. I just made that up. So but I don't know, man. It's just like a good wine tastes good, and you know, and after I have a glass, I feel like I want to complain to the manager. You know, just one of those things where the thing, yeah. No. I was a beer drinker for the longest time, right? Because I couldn't gauge liquor. I knew exactly how much beer I could drink in any given setting, right? I'm from my body weight, my height, all that stuff. I knew I could take in X amount of beers and I'll be right there at the nice buzz line and everything's groovy gravy, right? But when I was drinking liquor, who knows? Might end up on the bathroom floor, might end up on a bus going the wrong way. That happened. You ever heard of Cisco? It's like malt liquor, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm in Crown Heights, New York, right? I'm in Brooklyn at a party, and the beer ran out, and then somebody hands me this fucking bottle that says Cisco. I'd never heard of Cisco, right? I said, well, if it's beer, okay, I'll drink it. And I must have drank like about a 6-pack of the regular stuff right at this point. So I'm feeling all right. I drank like 2 sips of that shit, and all of a sudden I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm on the bus going the wrong way. And you know, I had to get off the bus and stagger to the right bus stop. How I got home, I have no idea. But I'll tell you this. I will take beer over liquor any day just because of that. But if there's only liquor available, I will be careful. Are you what is your preference? What do you like?
See,
Do you like
I'm kind of the opposite because beer starts making me full. And so like if I have one beer, I feel like I'm gonna go to sleep. If I have like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, I just start feeling heavy. And so a lot of times that's why I'll drink light beer. But then I have a hard time getting to my level because of starting off drinking liquor at an early age. I mean, when I got overseas and I was in weapons, the initiation is to go ahead and get you hammered. So they were giving me nothing but mixed drink after mixed drink after mixed drink. And
oof?
yeah, ended up at a bus stop in the morning. Like, where the hell am I at?
That's right. If you know it's a good time if you wake up somewhere and you don't know how the hell you got there. No, I hear you, man. Because I don't know. I've drank some to where it was just like, I don't know how I survived the next day. The only thing I came up with like a hangover prevention kind of thing. So basically what my routine was, I would take a multivitamin, usually like a Tylenol or something like that, and then hammer back about a gallon of water with it. And by the morning, I was usually just a little queasy from the stomach, but nothing like no boom, 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 boom. You know, the throbbing head and the constant praying for death. You know, that kind of thing where you're just like, get it out of my head. It hurts so much. Ah!
See, the trick I found when I used to drink all the time was I would get myself right to that limit, and you know, a couple shots or whatever that'll get me there, and then get me a nice stiff drink, maybe like a strong rum and coke, and kind of like just nurse it, you know.
Yeah.
Little sip here, little sip, and then once it gets close towards the end of the night when I'm knowing about to leave, completely switch to water.
Yeah. Perfect. Because if you at the very least you have to drink a ton of water before you go to bed, to dilute that shit. Because that, I think that's the key, because when you're dehydrated, that's what makes the headaches, that's what makes the nausea and all that stuff. So if you knock out that you know, that dryness, that dehydration, it actually helps too. So even if you don't have like an aspirin or any of that, you know, vitamins or anything like that, drink water and then you'll be fine. So but try and find your happy place too. I like to tell people.
Well, like Nico would say, you got to find your balance, and that's what it is. You get to that buzz level, and some of those younger guys, they just like, another one, just want to keep pounding and pounding and pounding. not what you do. You get to that level and you're just trying to maintain. It's like you're on a trapeze rope and you're just trying to balance and stay. You want to go under it, but you don't want to go over it either. And if you stay right there, then you avoid the hangovers a lot of times.
Yeah, and like you said too, get the good stuff. Don't cheap out on the cheap shit, because you will get the cheap results from it too. But yeah, I did I tell you my story? I was in Pensacola house sitting with some friends, and we were drinking peach schnapps. You ever had peach schnapps?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. So we ended up combining it with Mountain Dew. Okay. You're like, wait a minute, where's my throw up bucket?
Yeah.
No, wait, I know it sounds wretched, but somehow that combo worked, because I sat on the couch for 2 hours drinking Mountain Dew and peach schnapps, hammering it back. And then when the first time I went to stand up to go use the bathroom, it was like, boom, it just hit. And you're like, oh no, everything is in slow motion. You're just like, I gotta get to the toilet, and then I was on that bathroom floor hugging that toilet like a lover for 2.5 hours, and then I finally I finally passed out in the bathroom until somebody woke me up because they had to go pee. But my God, the hangover the next day, it was just, but as they say, it was good going down, right? It was tasty. And that's another thing, like margaritas and shit like that. You got to watch out for drinks that are tasty, that are like, oh, this actually tastes refreshing and good. It's like, bitch, it's got alcohol in it. You got to be careful.
Speaking of tasty drinks, you got to be careful with. I used to make this drink when I was in the Navy called the Wonder Punch. And man, the good thing about the Wonder Punch is if you're drinking it fast, it'll hit you so hard, you're going to end up passing out eventually. And then, like, I had one night where I got so hammered, like in the first hour, I'd already like passed out. Then I woke back up to start getting drunk again, passed out again, and woke back up because, overseas, the party goes a lot longer. So you're partying a lot of times till the sun comes up. And I'm like, all right, now let's go hit a panini stand.
Yeah.
Because and I don't know, should I divulge the secrets to the Wonder Punch, the ingredients? Because I definitely ain't gonna make that shit no more. It's too damn expensive, especially now.
You've piqued my curiosity. I gotta know what's in it now. So what is it got, like is there gunpowder? What's in this shit?
Damn near. So
shit.
I would start off with my vodka, which typically would be I would go with either a Smirnoff, or I would go with like Grey Goose if I had a little extra money to spend. I'd go with a Bacardi Spice Rum, a little E&J, go with some Jack Daniels in there. Then I put what was it? I'm missing one other strong liquor that was in there. Was it Jameson's? I think it was Jameson's. So it's like 5 hard liquors.
Ooh.
Then I would take the two flavors of Alizé. One was like the passion fruit and one was like mango or something like that. Then I would get Kool-Aid. Fruit punch Kool-Aid with a shitload of sugar.
Oh no.
And mix all that together with a ton of ice.
Oh no.
And so it covers all that liquor that I put in there. And so you're just sipping on it, and especially if you're sitting down, it's the worst thing. Don't ever sit down and drink that shit, because you might fall through somebody's table.
Just that's what I would do. That's what shit. If I drank that shit, that's what was happening with the Cisco when I was drinking that shit. I got about 3 sips in, and what the fuck is this, gasoline? What the fuck is this shit? I was just drank like a 6-pack and a half of beer, and I'm like, I drank 3 sips of this shit. I'm just like riding the wrong bus, talking to people. Man, it was crazy. Yeah, fuck that shit, man.
I forgot, by the way, the Bacardi that I would get sometimes if I really want to be edgy, I mix in that 151 just to really make it a little rougher for you. Oh, that was the one. That was one of the ones I would swap out. If I'd have E&J, I'd throw in Crown.
Oh, okay. I like Crown. I was a big Crown and Coke guy for the longest time. That was my thing, going to bars. And
see, a lot of those dark liquors, they get hid up under that sugar.
Yeah, I mean, the Bacardi 151. Forget that shit, man. I think you know what? Okay, so have you ever heard of a flaming Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So for those who don't know, so you take like a mug of beer, right? And you get a shot of Bacardi 151, and then you put a little amaretto on the top, right? And then you light it so when it's on fire, and then you drop it into the beer and you chug it, and it tastes like Dr. Pepper. But brother, it hits a hell of a lot worse than Dr. Pepper. I tell you that. Especially when you have about 4 or 5 of those in a row. That's what happened on my birthday. On my 21st birthday, my sister threw a party for me at her place. And the reason you mentioned when you said the sugar, and I think in sugar and alcohol, because I was drinking everything under the sun. There was liquor, there was beer, there's everything. And of course, since it was my birthday, there was birthday cake. So, and I'm eating like all this icing and the sweet cake, and it's mixing with the alcohol. Needless to say, I passed out on some bed with a bucket next to the bed, and I used that bucket too, because yeah, that was 21st birthday, and I think I made out with my sister's sister-in-law too, but I can't confirm that. She said I did, but I don't remember shit. I just remember a bucket and me putting my head in there a lot. So, needless to say, I like weed and I like beer and I like liquor every once in a while, like a little bit, to kind of like take the edge off, just a little. Not like I can't do that anymore. But
Well,
just
see
like
that. See, that's what happened with me when I started smoking. I started to kind of like kick the liquor side, so I really wasn't a big liquor drinker once I started smoking. I was like, I prefer that because I got control of my body, but I still got the little buzz and everything. I ain't got to worry about passing out or hangovers. And then when I stopped smoking and I tried to like pick back up drinking again, I never could really get back into the feel of drinking again.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. And I think that's one of the reasons why weed has been illegal for so long, because of the alcohol lobby. One of the reasons is the alcohol lobby, because they know people do that. They would rather, once they have experienced like cannabis for themselves, and they know that they like it and stuff, a lot of times they don't even touch alcohol after that anymore. Only if they're like at a place where nobody's like passing around a pipe, and that's all they got is booze. Then you might have a few, but then it's still a little weird then too, because you're so out of the booze loop, as it were. Like back in the day when you were on the regular at parties and stuff like that, you knew how to handle it. And now, man, I drink like 2 or 3 beers and I'm like, I'm done. I may not even get past that second beer. You know what I mean? I'm just like sleepy time. I think age probably has something to do with it too, but yeah, I'd rather smoke than drink too. Midnight Karma. That's the thing. If I got smoke, if it's a Sophie's choice, it's not a Sophie's choice. I'm picking that weed every time. that booze can go on. You can kill that booze if you want to, but I'm going to take the weed.
Yeah. So like if I ever hit the lottery or something, and I no longer have to worry about operating power equipment and all that. Hello, weed. I'm back to you, my sweet darling.
Look, I tell you this, if you hit lottery, you might as well just open a farm. You know what I mean? And just like, that's what I'm going to do. If I ever hit like the big lottery or something like that, I'm going to find me a patch of land somewhere that's cheap. And I'm going to grow the fuck out of some weed in a legal state and let that money just roll in, baby. And then have a little something for daddy on the side,
Well, I remember that one show that I used to watch, and they're like real fancy with their stuff. So they were like making whole meals that were like pot infused and like wine that was pot infused, and that would be me. I like just like make all my shit that way. And then I even thought like back in there, I was like, you know what I would do? Yeah, what I would do is I'd pump it through the ventilation system while people are eating.
I think we've all had that fantasy of like pumping like that through the ventilation, especially like where we work, and some of the hard ass people that work there, they're all of a sudden they're just like, oh, everything's wonderful. I'm so hungry.
Sometimes you wish you had like a weed sniper and be like, hey, you have the green light, take him.
The green
your boss
light
comes in, pow, pop him, like, you know what, Johnson? Damn, you know what? I don't even know why I came in here tripping. I mean, I was gonna yell at you for some shit, but you know what? You all right with me. I was being the asshole.
I tell you, man, Weed Sniper sounds like the movie. That sounds like a fucking movie right there, dude. I would be like, it's like it's you start off the trailer, it's all dramatic, right? And you see this guy and he's wearing all this camo and stuff, and it's all green, right? And he's got the gun, and then like he just kind of pulls a leaf off, and you just start the Weed Sniper. He's coming after you assholes.
Or even better, you see like a guy and he's like running and he has his phone. It's like almost like Neo from the Matrix, and he's running and he's ducking and shit like that. He's like, come on, he's on my ass. You got to get to him. And then he's like, take him out. And then you see him's like, hold on, calm down. Pulls the joint out. Gets him and he's like, I don't know what has happened to me. I must let him.
He turned into William Shatner. That's what happened. You shot him with the Shatner weed. How dare you?
Oh, man.
The Shatner cannabis is a particular strain that makes you want to speak staccatically like this. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I had this idea for a movie way back. This was before, when you remember the whole 2012 and the Mayan calendar and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this idea. It was called 4/2012, and it was basically, it was like Krypton. You know, it just, this planet blew up, but the planet was made out of 100% weed, and this giant chunk of earth and rock is coming towards Earth, and it's kind of like Don't Look Up, and people are like kind of freaking out. They think the world's going to end, and at the end of the movie, the giant rock is entering the atmosphere, and everybody's holding each other like, this is the end, this is goodbye. And then it burns up in the atmosphere, and there's this cloud that encircles the earth. And then the last scenes, like during the credits, you see people just like, ah. You see like Jews and Muslims hugging each other like, oh, we were so stupid, what were we thinking? You know, shit like that, because it's a total bake out. It's like the earth gets hot boxed.
Well, then you see like Shaolin monks too. They be fucking meditating. Master, you're levitating. Like, yes, I'm getting high.
Yeah.
I mean, I got so many ideas that I would do if I, man. Well, for those who don't know, I for one point almost made the break of becoming a screenwriter.
Uh-oh.
Party in progress.
Hey, what's up, Jerry?
What the hell are you doing broadcasting on New Year's Eve?
What the hell are you doing on a show that's broadcasting on New Year's Eve?
Why aren't you out partying somewhere, dude?
Look, this is the party. Because you don't know, that means you're not cool, Jerry. This is the fucking party, dude.
All right, this is part of the party. This is part of the celebration.
Where are you at?
I'm telling you, Jerry, you're cheating on the party
down near
goers.
Fulton Market.
Oh, yeah?
With some friends up in a high-rise. Oh, you know,
okay.
Our friend Art. Hey.
Hey, what's up, Art? Good to see you, my friend.
Uncle Warren, hey, and Marcus, hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey.
Happy New Year to you guys. You guys getting
getting
prostitutes? Are you going to purchase women tonight? What's going on?
Oh, dude, where do we go to? I'd like to. I'm actually not sure what direction to go into.
All right, hey, let's not be judgmental. They might want prostitutes.
Make that sale.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Listen, Look, all you got to do is look for women in hot pants. It don't matter. It don't matter what the temperature is. It could be minus 10 degrees outside. If you see a woman in hot pants, she's a pro. All right. But make sure you get the New Year's Eve discount, right? Because once you go into 2025, they're going to charge double. All right. I don't know this personally. I have friends who like whores. So
There's always
I
a post New Year's Eve countdown over at the Admiral Theater. That's also a hot spot to at least get some eye candy. But
I'm gonna.
joining you tonight.
I don't think so. I think he's sitting this one out because it's a little late, or he might. Who knows? He might be Batman, just be lurking. But are you drinking? Are you having adult beverages?
I've had a few, but it takes more than a few to put me out. So I'm managing very well.
Okay. Well, I mean, you pulled
Marcus,
Santa's.
Happy New Year. I don't know if we've met before.
Not exactly, but no. But nice to meet you, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry's
Happy
from
New Year.
Chicago corner.
Well, yeah, I remember the whole group of you guys. So I from afar follow you guys' work.
Oh well, don't believe everything you hear. What part of the country are you in?
I'm in LA.
Oh, cool, nice. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Happy New Year to you guys out there too.
All righty, thank you, Jerry.
All right, Jerry, have a good time, man. Be safe.
I will. I just wanted to say hello, wishing you all Happy New Year, and Warren, Uncle Warren, talk to you soon. Marcus, Happy New Year, and to everybody out there, Happy New Year. Let's all look forward to a much better 2025.
Yes, indeed.
Fingers crossed,
Actually,
man.
Actually, before you hop off, you gotta ask Jerry, like, what's a prediction or something that you look forward to seeing in the 2025?
Yeah, what do you think, Jerry?
A prediction regarding which?
Well, anything, any kind of prediction, any prediction or something to expect or something you got your eye on for 2025?
I have really come to love and appreciate Russell and Keaton over two dissidents, and I love how they are analyzing the MAGA meltdown. And it's beautiful. We've watched the Democratic Party meltdown, deservedly so. I was thrilled to see them fall apart. And it's interesting now, too, to see the MAGA right realizing Elon was manipulating it. And Trump has not even been inaugurated yet. So I've been in, that's, for me, that's what I've got the popcorn out for. To see how all this...
I'm with you. We're right here. I've been watching and I've been like, I don't always agree with them, but man, they are doing bang up work on this. And hopefully, because I'm going out to DC for the inauguration to try to do some street interviews, and hopefully I'll run into those guys because I think they said that they might be out there.
Well, there's clearly been a realignment of the parties. You know, workers embracing Trump because of his posturing that he's for workers' rights and for the American working class. But not when it comes to those H-1B visas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I have a conservative cousin who I love tweaking at. He works with a company that has the word U.S. in the name. And I said, here's hoping in 2025 your company doesn't become H-1B. So, you know, because, you know, he's anti-union. And so, but, you know, with corporations embracing foreign workers because it's cheaper than American labor, I really want to see how diehard MAGA is going to reconcile and resolve all this, seeing now that Musk is manipulating Trump. Trump is jumping on board, and you know, just like the Democrats lied to the left, how MAGA and Trump and that faction of the Republican Party is lying to the base and put them in place. So, look, I'm loving watching both parties melt down.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely, for us radicals out there. Well, good luck to you with everything, and we'll talk more about this stuff in the future. Warren, you know, there's an opportunity to come on and this stuff goes on. But for now, Happy New Year, Happy 2025, everybody.
Well, appreciate you you hopping on there and taking time out of your busy socialite schedule there, you fucking prima donna.
You know I love you.
That's why you come back for more, baby. Right. All right, Jerry. Well, Happy New Year to you, brother. Officially in about 15 minutes, but yeah, enjoy yourself. Have a good time. We'll see you soon, okay?
I will. You guys too. Okay, take care. Good night.
See you, bud. Okay. So that was Jerry Vassilatos there from TV's Chicago Corner joining us there. Yeah, it's a night of 1,000. Well, it's a night of a couple of stars. It's not a night of 1,000 unless 999 more people show up. And then, yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen. So you mentioned something about what Jerry was saying about a prediction for the coming year. I thought that's a good idea too. I haven't really thought about it. I just thought it was just going to be shitty again. I don't know to what degree, but I mean, I'm just probably thinking it's going to be shittier. I mean, like, well, okay. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome because I think all politicians, no matter, you know, how much experience they have or not, are usually just full of shit anyway. But, you know, with Trump having the White House and the Republicans having the Senate and the House, and of course you have your 6-3 conservative margin in the SCOTUS there. I think what's going to happen is probably Ukraine and Russia is going to wrap up. That's going to wrap up somehow. And then it's just going to be balls to the wall against China because all them Republicans want to go after China. They all want to go after China. You think we're going to be in a war with China this coming year?
I think cooler heads are going to prevail as far as China. I think it's a lot of talk because I think once China actually starts to show their teeth a little bit, they'll realize, wait a minute, this is not China from 1980s. And I think that's what's in a lot of these guys' head. I mean, I think the same thing is with Russia. They really thought that this was going to be a lot easier and Ukraine was going to have no problem. You know, they thought that this was going to go differently. And like I had to explain to like somebody who kind of leans more on the liberal side, I said, what they're not telling you is Russia's not just fighting Ukraine. Russia's fighting NATO already. There are NATO members from all of those countries already there who are fighting. I mean, I watched videos 7-8 months ago where I'm like, dude, I recognize those formations. I recognize how you guys are doing sweep and clears. These guys are fucking Americans. And then I heard the tape and I hear the fucking accents and I'm like, I knew they were Americans. I could tell what's going on. So you got NATO troops that are in there and they're like, oh no, we have some who are retired who are in there. No, I know what you guys do. What you guys do is you'll get a couple of guys who you want to go in a handful and you'll put them under a retired status, but unofficially they are still part of the military and you're sending them specifically for that, or you retired them specifically so they could go and do that where they are still getting a government check, and it's so that you have plausible deniability. I know what you guys are doing.
Yeah, of course that's what they're doing. And then they have the balls to complain about North Koreans being in the mix. I'm like, bitch, you got NATO in the mix. Come on, shut the fuck up. I don't think they're going to attack China because I think that hypersonic missile that Russia launched against Ukraine scared the shit out of the United States. Did you see it? The ones they were like, I guess the ones they launched against Israel, how fast they were just like, zoom, 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 zoom. You can't, your Iron Dome ain't going to be able to throw up shit to defend against shit that fast. I mean, and even if you could get one, there's like 200 raining down on you. How are you going to get all of them like that? You think the weapons are too advanced for the United States?
Russia has a missile which goes over Mach 12. And for those who don't understand what Mach 12 is, that is getting from St. Petersburg, Russia, to any part of the United States in less than an hour.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here. And if they're launching it from anywhere closer, we can be talking about 15, 20 minutes. So you never know where those subs are at, because here's something that they don't tell you. And this is from somebody who is a former torpedo man whose job was to actually listen for subs and crap like that. When I was on the ship, I did a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, it's pretty fucking hard to keep up with their subs, and their sub technology is really, really, really fucking good. So that's one issue that we have a huge blind spot. And Russia, as far as their conventional weapons are, some of them are a little dated. But when it comes to their nuclear program, whether it is from land, air, sea, it is all, the top of the line. And China is right there along with them. So if it gets into a battle like that, and I've heard some people say, oh, well, they wouldn't fight them because, or they wouldn't try to worry about nukes and stuff because everybody will just nuke each other. No, not necessarily. Russia, with their capability to drop can't even think of what it's called right now, EMP nukes. They can neutralize our ability to launch back, and also they just have the ability to be able to launch on us faster. And if China or Russia decides to go that route, it could be a very ugly front. So I think the State Department and Pentagon guys, that's the reason why they're running, all these other smaller proxy wars, because they know if it became a direct war, it would be that kind of a problem. So though the Republicans are going to sit there and they're going to talk their crap, it's because they don't understand the real capabilities of what's going on. And those people at the State Department and DOD are not going to let it get to that level because they know the truth.
Yeah, I mean, how could these missiles, like these hypersonic missiles, how could something like that take the U.S. off guard? Is it just like bad intelligence? I mean, how could they? Used to, the United States knew exactly what Russia and China were doing all the time, and now it just seems like, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think that what it is we've soured relations so much over the years that we've destroyed every modicum of trust. And so before, we would be able to get away with some stuff, and because we've done so much, even the crooked people over there who are kind of like double agents within their government are like, I don't want to take the chance with you guys because you guys are just going to throw me under the bus and screw me anyway, even if I help you. And so I think we're relying a whole lot more on our reputation than who we are right now. America is completely relying on the reputation of the 1980s, and
Yeah.
they haven't kept up with the technology. I mean, I think of times where I've seen old ships that we sold to other countries that barely even have a military, and to see the capabilities that they have invested in their military, while most of our stuff is so outdated and rustic, and it's just, we spend a whole lot of money on junk. We spend a lot of money on junk and repair, instead of saying, you know what, trash that, get something that's more efficient and up and running. And that's part of our problem. And then we're in too many damn countries. They're spread too thin. And so they don't have to focus the way we do. And also the way how our government works, and the bureaucracy, and this person's trying to make money. And so they have this planned obsolescence within a lot of the materials and the weapon systems, and stuff is being rushed out, and tests are it works this many times, when they're hiding all this other fails and stuff like that. It's getting out into the field. Yeah.
Boeing. Yeah.
It's getting out to the field, and it's crap. I mean, it happened with the Joint Strike Fighter. It took so many years to get that out because it kept having continual problems over and over and over. Whereas in Russia, it's like, no, we are going to get this out. There's no, okay, this politician needs it in his state or that state, and they're not fighting with all that crap. So for us to get out new weapon systems, it takes 5-10 years of all this crap. They're getting stuff out in a year.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it's not watered down with going to these different states or whatever. It's more of a centralized military in Russia like that. They don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Same with China.
China's
even worse. I mean, well, worse, better, I don't know how you define it, but they're even more streamlined.
Yeah. And that's that for war. If you're going to do any kind of warfare today, you have to think about the streamlining of the stuff. It's more, you're going to see more cyber attacks than you're going to see like boots on the ground. in coming years. You know, now you've already got drone warfare, so you don't have to worry about like human kamikazes like you did in World War II. Now you could just fly in a drone, and if it blows up, that's great, no big deal. Nobody gets hurt. I mean, none of your people get hurt. Not to say what happens on the other side.
Well, that you mentioned World War II. Another thing which the U.S. did is they completely say, you know what? Fuck the economy. We don't care about that shit. Shut down this, shut down that, shut down that. You now are building bombs. You now are building tanks. And so they took like forward and like, okay, you're building weapons of war now. We don't care that you're a car dealership. Fuck that. And the United States has not been in that mode for a long time. We haven't felt that threat to go to that direction. So what happens when a fighter hasn't been in the ring in a while, hasn't faced any challenges? And when you finally do get in the ring, you get your ass whooped. Exactly.
Yeah, because you're not ready. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, yeah, it's we can go into places where their military is just shit and, you know, be the king shit of fuck mountain. But that's why we don't go into the tougher places. For one thing, most of these tougher places have nukes, like your Russias, your Chinas, now your North Koreas. They're working on one, and God knows probably Iran's going to have one too pretty soon. If I was Iran, I'd be building one right now. I'd be just like North Korea. It's like, you fuckers are not going to invade my shit without the boom boom coming. You know what I mean?
If I was Iran, I would have never trusted any of these peace accords and Abraham's Accord, none of that shit.
No.
If I was any kind of power in Iran, we would have had a nuke 30 years ago. The day I heard Israel had one, bitch, we're getting one.
Yeah. Well, that's what scares the shit out of me, is the fact that Israel has nukes. And fairly good. Yeah, go ahead.
You heard the story about its possibility that they dropped a tactical nuke in Syria?
What?
Yeah.
When, recently?
Yeah, it's rumored that probably about 2 weeks ago or so that they dropped a tactical nuke there. And then they claim that what it is they hit a weapons depot.
Right. And that, yeah.
That caused a minor earthquake and all that shit like that. And they detected radiation and, okay, sure.
Okay, hang on just a second. We're about 10 seconds away from midnight here in the Central Time Zone. Hey, Happy New Year. Midwest, y'all. That shitty toilet paper. There you go. Happy New Year, bitches, in Chicago. Happy New Year. Very nice. Happy New Year. New York, just East Coast, had theirs last hour. Now it's Central. Mountains up next, but, we don't really.
I'm trying to remember. What is this? I got to look this up real quick because I'm forgetting. I figured it's worthy to bring this up right now on New Year's, where the history, where the whole thing about the fireworks, where that comes in. Marduk, what is it? Marduk versus Marduk versus Tiamat. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh yeah, that's from the Sumerian tales.
Yeah,
the big battle in the sky.
About the big battle in the sky, and that's allegedly where the whole idea for all the fireworks come from, because they talk about that battle between Marduk and Tiamat and all the explosions and all that stuff that they were seeing, and which led to the whole need for fireworks. And then it goes into even stuff about the whole dropping of the ball. There's all kind of different histories and stuff about that, and about the poppers, and there's so much historical stuff that you can dig back, where they say it traces back to so many different ancient cultures and ancient religions and things like that, which I did a video on that. I did the research on that some years back, and this was kind of blown away, all that.
Well, all right, since this is freeform hour, we're just talking. Let's talk about have you ever heard of or read the book of Enki? Are you?
I've heard about it. You're talking about Enki and Enlil?
Yeah. And some of the crazy shit that's in that book is talking about like spaceports and people nuking each other. I mean, it's just crazy.
And
It's
portals and
yeah. I mean, isn't that shit like in the Vimana too, right? In the Hindu, like the old Hindu text, they're talking about like battles in the skies with flying chariots and shit.
yes, I mean, well, even in the Bible, it talks about flying chariots too. So,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think what it is because then you'll have some people argue, oh, well, this is the truth and that's the truth, and what it is there are bits there. It's kind of like historical events that a lot of people saw in different cultures, witnessed it from a different way, and from this vantage point, you saw this. From that vantage point, you saw that, and the recording of those stories were just placed down differently. So I don't like some people say, oh well, no, well, what it is you always are copying off of the ancient Egyptian tablets, and no, I just think that all of these different areas all have these similar stories because they all experienced this event, or somebody at least saw this events, and when they traveled to these areas, these stories got passed down just in different ways.
Yeah. And it's like a game of telephone too with these oral traditions too, because a lot of times some stuff gets taken away from the interpretation, or maybe some stuff gets added, that kind of thing. So it's like, I mean, if we were actually like, if you and I were like, if you were Mr. Peabody and I was your boy Sherman, and we went back in time to actually see all this stuff, all these, these fantastic things that are written in these texts, what we would actually see, would we see like some sort of what looks like modern technology compared to like mud homes and, just torches and shit that the regular people were using. So have you ever, I think you and I have talked about this before, like during World War II, there's like one of the islands out in the Pacific they used as a runway, right? And it had people on there, these natives. They had never seen people before. Have you heard this story?
Um,
It's pretty cool. Well, basically, the Americans land on this island. They use it as a base, right? And they make friends with the natives there, and they're giving them food and all kinds of stuff. And then after the war is over, the soldiers pack up everything and then they leave, right? So the natives were so taken by how advanced these Americans were with their technology and stuff like that. They built this, it looked like they built this plane out of straw as like a an idol to worship them. You know what I'm saying? So when you take that, and that's just, World War II technology from Americans. You imagine just like people who just don't know anything about technology, seeing people doing all these wondrous things, but they're actually using technology to do it. It's just the people can't comprehend it. And now, is that technology lost? Did it even really exist? I mean, what do you think about all that?
I think that the technology definitely exists. I think it's just things get lost in time, and especially when you had cultures which were interacting with different cultures, um, and you're coming to the like you didn't have a Google tablet to tell you that this is a that. I mean, so when you're going in, you
Right.
might not understand the value of how important some of the things are that you're destroying. And when you look
Mhm.
into all the different conquests and wars that have happened, one of the first things that gets destroyed in a lot of those is histories and records after the war is over with. And
Yeah.
when you're deposing that, so and mostly the reason for that is so that these people can never come back and say, well, this was my land, and they don't have that history, and if they lose that history, they lose that connection. And but at the same time, what's being lost is advancements, technology, different customs, things that are learned, and knowledge is being lost at the same time overall. And so I definitely believe that. I mean, when you see the tribe out there that they figure out how to move large stones through frequencies and playing
Yeah.
music, I mean, they figured out something there when you find out that there were places in ancient Egypt that had a working plumbing and sewer system all the way back in the BC days when they find some of these discoveries and they find like a door hinge, like a bolt for a door hinge that is, like 30 feet long. Okay, if the bolt is that big, how big is the hinge? And then how big is the fucking door?
Yeah, I was
And
about to
what
say,
does
how
this
big's that
go
fucking
to?
door?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So if they were building stuff this large. Now, some people will chalk that up to, well, maybe it was just giants that put all that there. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe, but I honestly feel like if you don't have television and a whole lot of just leisure time, you got a bunch of people around. I mean, you're this big brutal king. You can tell people to build up about any damn thing, and so
Yeah.
you got the time and you got the manpower. And if you have enough, like what they say about prisoners, prisoner sits in there, they be like, how the hell did they find out how to escape from this place? Got nothing but time on their hands to figure out things and learn. And what you learn, and you company that knowledge with the next person and the next person and the next person, and you put in all of this brain power together.
Mhm.
Eventually breakthroughs happen. And so that's definitely what I think. I mean, it's kind of funny when you talked about that island, that reminded me of another story. There's this one tribe that like one of the royal family members went to that area, and it was the first person that they saw that was not part of their tribe, and he was a first white person that they'd ever saw, and they thought that he was a god because of how the technology that he had, how he came in and his clothes were all neat and nice, and they were just blown away at this. And then they started worshiping, and so that's passed down over generations, and now they literally worship like the royal family.
Yeah. Wow. Who was the guy? There was some guy that met one of those tribes over there. Was he a Kennedy? No. He was somebody, and he ended up getting eaten by the cannibals. It was somebody in a big family like that. Was maybe it was a Rockefeller or somebody like that. But this was like the same thing. But it was the total opposite. They didn't worship him as a god. They worshiped him as a sandwich. They said, we're putting this motherfucker in the crock pot, a little slow cooking on this white meat. Put a little pepper in there. Yeah. So his name was Michael. His first name was Michael. And I can't remember. It wasn't Michael Kennedy. I don't think it was Michael Rockefeller. Maybe it was Michael Rockefeller.
I'm thinking it was a Rockefeller. I'm thinking that sounds right.
Because he went there, he never came back. And they said, well, it turns out he probably got ate up by that tribe because they were cannibals. I mean, you go over to somebody's house and they're like, well, what are we having to eat? And they say, well, you probably should turn around and leave, if you don't want to, die. I'm pretty sure you're going to die from being eaten. I don't know. I'm not a doctor or sociologist or any of that shit.
I don't know, unless you're eating a different way.
Oh, laws, yes. Oh, I do declare, I think I have the vapors on that one. Yes, indeed. Sometimes you just want to sit there and eat all day. Oh, they never get full.
Or all night.
Or all night. Did you say oral night? Is that what you said? Oral? Oh my goodness. We'll be playing the Sands this Thursday and Friday night, folks. Be sure to tip your wait staff. Delicious. Marcus, I'm so glad you're here, man. So 2025 coming up.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest thing is going to happen this year? What do you think is like the big thing that's going to affect everybody? Or is it going to happen?
I think we're going to see some kind of technological breakthrough. Now I'm not saying breakthrough and is all of our lives is about to get so much easier and so more convenient, but necessarily some kind of breakthrough that's going to be something that's going to be changed, whether it's good or bad. That's what I think, and I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be, but I think it may have something to do with more of the surveillance and AI. I think it's definitely going to be AI related, because the one thing when everybody's been talking about this whole Elon Musk and the H1B1 visas. The one part that's kind of been getting skipped over, and even I didn't talk about it a whole lot at the time when we talked about it on the show. We're kind of cracking our jokes about it, but the focus of this guy's role that's being put in, what was it Scrimram or something like that? It's AI that he's been put in, and where Elon is so forceful about he needs all of these visas to bring in is AI workers. This is where he's focusing on a lot of energy, and he's going to have the ability to have an amazing amount of resources at his hands and tons of contracts. And um, I think that because Trump is so transactional, it's going to be extremely beneficial for any of those people who put money into his coffers. And so somebody like Elon, and I don't know if Vivek's angle yet, what he's going to get out of this, but no, he's going to get something. I would say he's probably going to be more on the venture capital side. But with Elon, because Elon's focus is China is so ahead of us as far as AI and some of that stuff and exoskeleton suits and all that. Elon's goal is to try to catch up with China and South Korea and some of those other areas that have been really jumping ahead leaps and bounds as far as technology. I would even throw China and Japan in there. Well, I think I said China, but throw Japan in there too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Trump's going to start a war with Iran. I really do. I think he's been chomping at the bit, and he really wanted to the last time. So I think this time around he's probably going to get his wish. I don't know. I don't think we're going to put boots on the ground in Iran. I don't think the terrain is just too crazy. It's too mountainous. You can't invade Iran. I mean, we've invaded places. We can't do anything with it. I mean, we end up shoot if it's somebody like that has like a shit military or something. Yeah, we can take them out pretty easy. But Iran does not have a shit military, and B, like I said, that's just like that whole country's a whole fucking fortress too. To try to attack. So I think they're going to end up bombing. They're just going to do it offshore, just going to bomb and bomb and bomb Iran till they give up or whatever. Or maybe Iran says, fuck it, we got nukes. Surprise. We had them all along. Ha 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 ha. That kind of thing. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think Trump is really, really, really going to go after Iran, probably more so than China, I think.
I agree. I definitely agree with that assessment. And I think if it does get to that, maybe not in 2025, we might not put boots on the ground, but eventually boots on the ground will come maybe, into 2026. Because once you open that can of worms, it's going to be worse than Iraq and Afghanistan. We're going to be stuck in there for years. Because what's going to eventually happen is if we do start sitting off the coast and we start launching off, that is going to Iran is going to feel like, you know what, we've been holding back on all the troops you guys have in the region. We can't hit you over there, so we'll just start hitting you guys at all these different places where you guys have Americans staked all over the place.
Yeah, and then the wild card, of course, you got the Houthis, Houthi and the blowfish over there, the blow you up fish. That's what, don't come into our part of the world here. We will fucking bomb you and get you. How many aircraft carriers? They chased out like 2 or 3 of them, didn't they? From the US.
And that's the thing. And you would be closer to Iran if you'd be closer to where the Houthis are, Yemen, if you do try to attack Iran, because of where you would be launching from. And so that would be more of a possibility that they could receive some damages, especially with what's been and if some of that stuff keeps going on in Israel and it keeps inching closer and closer to Turkey.
There you go. Oh, okay. You were kind of roboting there for a second. But you're okay now. I'm sorry. So you keep inching closer to Turkey.
Yeah, if they keep inching closer and closer to Turkey, then Turkey's hand is going to be forced in a way, because once attacks and stuff start happening to their people, the amount of pressure, because there's already a ton of pressure from the people. The politicians are doing the "you better not," and when they're like, "Come on, we ain't really gonna do nothing." But you could see a situation where
well, we didn't want him around here anyway. Marcus, come back to us, son. You're just spitting truth bars. He'll be back. Maybe. I'm not quite sure. We'll see. Happy New Year, everybody. We could probably shout out some people that have. Don't worry, Zalipa. He's gonna be back. He just had a little owie. He little ouchie. Who we got? Who else is in here? I know. Luis, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, my friend. Happy New Year to you too. Like I said, Zalipa, Mariana. Denver Attaway over there on Rockfin. Happy New Year to you too, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Who else is in here? Well, if I missed you, I'll aim better next time. So while we're waiting on Marcus, I thought maybe we talk about some of the foods that you're supposed to eat for New Year's, right? Bringer Man, happy New Year's Central Time to you too as well. So there's all kinds of foods that you're supposed to eat traditionally for New Year's to bring yourself good luck. Old Man Barker, you're in McJesus's time zone. Oh, okay. You're in the mountain Jesus. Black eyed peas and greens. Yes, very delicious. In fact, let's do that. Let's see. Maybe we can do this. Something like this. I'm doing some different shit, so please bear with me. I appreciate you. So that one, there we go. Let's try that. So we're gonna try this. This is from the Pioneer Woman. Oh, that's right, the Pioneer Woman. It is 20 traditional New Year's foods to bring good luck in 2024. Black-eyed peas, delicious. Noms. I love me some black-eyed peas. The group, not so much, but I do the food, delicious. So it's a new year. It's a new you. It's new food. It's time to eat those black-eyed peas. That's number one. You got to get those out of the peas. That's for the new year. You got to have the black. Don't get regular green peas. None of that bullshit. You want some big-ass black-eyed peas. Marcus, if you're listening, I hope you're okay, buddy. I hope you didn't I hope things didn't piss out on you. So yeah, black-eyed peas, number one. Legend has it that if you want to bring good luck in the new year, you need to eat 365 black-eyed peas on New Year's Day, one for every day of the year. It would have been 366 last year since it was leap year. A serving of Ree's Hoppin' John will likely do the trick. You can also enjoy black-eyed peas, which are actually a type of bean, in a hearty veggie burrito or a black-eyed pea dip that's loaded with cheese. Okay. There's your greens. Those look like collards. This one might seem obvious, but collard greens are the color of paper money. Oh, that's right. So they're thought to symbolize a prosperous year ahead. This is especially true if eaten alongside black-eyed peas, which are round like coins, and cornbread, the color of gold. Of course, you can also swap collard greens or any other leafy green like kale, spinach, or Swiss chard. Or you could grow a pair of fucking balls and eat the goddamn collards because they're good. That's a Southern staple right there. Onion rings? What, onions? Greek tradition of hanging a bag of onions on your door, it was a fashion at the time, is meant to symbolize growth and rebirth. It all started back in ancient times when people realized that onions would sprout even when they were left alone. It was the ultimate sign for luck and fertility. So go ahead and grab some onions and put them to use in these tasty recipes. There he is.
There I
Welcome
go.
back. Welcome back, Cotter. We're just talking about food here for the new year. So we started off with black eyed peas,
Mhm.
right? Delicious. Got some collards right there. What is that in there? Is that bacon? That's not bacon. Is that pork in there? I don't know what
Turkey.
that is. It's turkey? Really?
Yeah, it should be. I believe it's turkey.
You ever had collards? I had collard greens.
Of course. Oh yeah.
We used to I didn't want to assume, Marcus, you know how these people are. We grew collards.
Think about it. I'm a Midwest kid with rural country grandparents.
Okay. All right. Well, you got your bona fides. I wasn't challenging that. I'm just saying not a lot of people can eat collard greens because they're just like, sometimes it's a little too powerful for them, but I've eaten collard greens, mustard greens, turnip greens. I mean, that's because we grew it. We grew it and we ate it. So onions too, because onions is supposed to symbolize some shit. What is it supposed to say? Oh,
was it gold?
For luck and fertility.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so you can use the onion as a cock ring when you're with that special someone that you want to put your pee-pee in. Champagne. Oh, look at that fancy pants. A bottle of bubbly is often thought as a symbol of luxury. In Europe, drinking champagne to celebrate a special occasion dates back to the 16th century. Today, you can find more affordable bottles of champagne available, but they'll still be overflowing with festivity. So you got to incorporate champagne. I don't like champagne. I mean, I like it, but I don't want to go through getting champagne. You know what I mean? Because it's not like you can put it on the shelf like booze or something. You know, it's like you kind of have to keep it in the house, in the free. I don't know. I if it's free, I'll drink it, but I ain't going to get it.
Yeah.
Tamales. They say tamales is good luck. These are all good luck foods you're supposed to eat. So in Mexico, the tradition of making tamales symbolizes family. That's because families will often set aside a special time, usually between Christmas and New Year's, to make this labor of love that consists of masa, a type of a corn dough mixture that's wrapped and streamed. It's got to be steamed. It can't be streamed. How do you go stream corn husks? That's stupid. Or banana leaves. So anyway, rice. Love rice. Usually do beans and rice or peas and rice. We always do some kind of stuff like that for New Year's. Yeah, there's all kinds of donuts. What? Donuts aren't lucky. Come on.
Ask cops.
I saw this video today. This guy was like, the guy said, the cop pulls him over. He said, sir, do you know how fast you were going? And you all of a sudden you see this hand with a donut come into the screen. He goes, I believe this will answer any questions you have. The officer looks at the donut, looks at him, and he goes, you have a nice day, sir. And then he walked off. I'm pretty sure it had to be set up, but it was still funny that cops could be bought off still with donuts. So in the Netherlands, eating fried donut-like pastries called oliebollen is said to be lucky. So this is like in New Orleans when you get the
beignets,
and the what's that shit called that you get at the carnivals and stuff? It's like they take dough and they just drizzle it into the grease. You know what I'm talking about. It makes the same things. Funnel cakes.
Yeah.
Funnel cakes. Yeah, look at that. That is so good. When's the last time you went to New Orleans?
It's been some years. I definitely need to get back. Had a great time down there.
I tell you, I'm, in my younger catting around days, going down there and partying and stuff was fun. But if I go back now, it's for two things: the music and for the food. And I'm going to behave myself.
Well, I'll tell people who've never been to New Orleans. One thing which is a big part of New Orleans, which you would probably never expect, frozen daiquiris, hard frozen daiquiris. Like they got these drive up frozen liquor spots
Yeah.
everywhere.
They have beer barns too that you could just
Mhm.
drive in. Yeah, it's a drive-through liquor store. It's basically what it is.
And you're like, wait a minute, so how does this work as far as an open container or not? And I was like asking her, like, well, what it is if your straw is in there, it's considered an open container. And so we're like, so couldn't you just get 2 lids and 2 straws and just, oh shit, cops coming, take that out, put a fresh one on there. And hey, what do you mean open container?
I know, right? Nothing to see here, Your Honor. Yeah, I know the whole. Well, you drive down south, yeah. But that place is Ticketville anywhere. They set you up for stuff like that. They want you to drive through that beer bar and get hammered so they can, especially at the end of the month when they can get their quotas. So you know
that's why you just get somewhere close to Canal Street and you ride a little train and you don't do it too much driving.
Exactly. If the best way to do New Orleans, get yourself a hotel, preferably closer to wherever you're going to be.
Yeah, you can take that Harrah's right there. It's not that expensive most times.
Yeah, and they even have the trolley there if you want to go uptown or whatever. You can do that. You can just right there. But yeah, definitely get a place. Off season is kind of nice. Like, don't go around like whenever Mardi Gras, because they'll just fucking jack that shit up. The prices of everything, even the Airbnbs, are just ridiculous around that time of year. If you go in the fall, usually around Halloween, they have the tattoo conventions down there too. That's usually the dope time to go down there, because the oh my god, this heat is trying to shrink me and turn me into water. This humidity, is gone by that point. It's starting to get a little chill in the air, and New Orleans actually feels good, because when you're there in the summertime, in the middle of summer, it's just you should be either drinking or on drugs, something to keep your mind off that god awful heat. That's the only thing. That heat down there is just so fucking miserable. Like August, oh. That's why you got so many fucking hurricanes down there, man. It's because that shit's just, the water is so hot down there. And you get some little piss storm that comes in from the Atlantic, all of a sudden it gets in the Gulf.
Builds up, yeah.
It's like Popeye eating spinach, man. It just now I'm gonna fuck everything up, that kind of shit.
I was like, oh, you could find a cheap place if you go out towards the 7th or the 9th ward.
Oh. A lot of available housing.
Yeah, you don't have to rent. You can buy a house to stay out there for a week at that cheap.
Can you imagine? I mean, like, they had so in New Orleans they had Six Flags there, right? But I guess it just once Katrina hit and it tore up the park. And it closed down after that. They never reopened after that. But there's still people that go there. And that park is just so creepy now. Like all this overgrown shit. And you see these like clown faces that are all dirty and covered in moss and shit. And it just looks, surreal and creepy. But yeah, I think that's probably how the 9th Ward would probably be too. Because everybody, I mean, why would you go back there? Right, how corrupt.
Only thing is going there is bad shit. That's the only thing that's out there. Yeah, unless you're like somebody who's like grew up there and you kind of know how to navigate that. But
right,
I wouldn't.
It's kind of like Detroit in a way. It's kind of like or like any of these, like your Gary,
start getting around the 7th mile, 8th mile, 9th mile area.
Yeah. Then you're like, okay. What was that from Vegas, from National Lampoon's Vacation? He goes, East St. Louis, roll them up.
I'm trying you might be able to help me remember, because last time I was there, I stayed someplace. I want to say it started with a K. crap. But it wasn't quite in New Orleans, but it was a short drive.
Kenner? Was it
Yes,
Kenner,
Kenner.
Louisiana?
That's where I was
Okay.
at. I was in Kenner.
Yeah, that was a suburb there. Yeah.
Because my company I was working for at the time, when I was working armored truck, they put me up out there for a couple months.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you eat at this place called Middendorf's? It's on like I-55 North or something like that. It's right outside town.
Sounds familiar.
It's a pretty big
Right.
place. It's like out in the middle of nowhere outside of New Orleans, but they have this razor thin fried catfish that they have. Is just, it's amazing. And you know, they have the tater planks, you know, your big French fries to go along with it. And you get the Abita. Get a nice Abita amber beer. That's like a local beer down there is Abita. Oh man, holy shit. It was so good. And they have all the fish houses around there too. Like all you can eat for like $20, that kind of shit. And you're sitting there just stuffing your face with catfish, alligator tail, frog legs, whatever the fuck you can stuff down your pie hole. Holy shit.
Or the craziest gumbo you can run across.
I am amazed that everybody in New Orleans is not 300 pounds.
Well,
right?
don't forget the po' boys too.
Ooh, hell yeah!
But you know why though? If you really think about it, the way it's set up down there, all of their places where you go and hang out and drink are a lot of walking. There's a lot of people do a lot of walking in that area, and it's set up for more foot traffic. And I think all that foot traffic sets up for a lot. I mean, you know what I'm talking about when you see some of the young ladies down there. I mean, you could tell.
Are we talking about the ones in the hot pants again? Because yeah,
or the short shorts.
The short shorts, yeah. I tell you, that shit works because me, it was like the end of 2003. It was right before I moved to LA. Me and a couple of friends went down to New Orleans, and we were trying to get our buddy laid, and we didn't know where the prostitutes were, so we were hammered, and we're walking up and down Bourbon
They're in
Street.
the French Quarter. Come on.
They were on Bourbon Street, and it was funny because like I would walk up to one of the girls, and I was pretty hammered. I go, "Hey, are you a pro?" They're like, "What?" Never mind. But then you're like, I got to the one girl, and she was wearing hot pants, the short shorts, and I said, "You working tonight?" She's, "What do you mean?" I said, "You a pro?" She's, "Maybe, yeah." And so she ended up coming back to the hotel with us, and she did my guy in the shitter. So we were out on the balcony smoking cigarettes while it's going on. It was a good night. It was a really good night. Although I did end up buying oregano instead of weed. I got ripped off. They got back to the room. I'm like, oh man. I was like, wait a minute. It smells like spaghetti.
That reminds me of two terrifying stories I had down in Louisiana. One, when I bought some stuff from a guy, I was like, I don't know what the hell he put in this shit, but I've been high for way too long. I'm not supposed to be high this long. I'm getting scared. I'm like,
it's weed plus.
I've been high for like 6 hours. I'm like, I need to come down. This is not right. This is not, something's wrong with this shit. I don't know what the fuck he put angel dust in here or something. I don't know what he did, but
I was
like,
well, it would take like 8 people to take you down though if you'd taken like PCP. So I think you were okay. Well, you said like how long had it been since you smoked though before then?
I was smoking on a regular.
Oh, okay.
And so I was probably smoking at least every day and on a weekend, like 3-4 times a day. Shit. And I'm talking about joints and bongs.
Okay. I thought maybe you had taken a break or something, and then
not back then.
So this was like it hit particularly hard, and it hit hard, but it just lasted long, or was it
hit hard and it lasted?
It could. Well, what was the quality of weed you were smoking though? Was it pretty okay?
My guy was. I was in Florida. He was getting all his stuff straight from LA.
Okay,
so he was getting this from a guy who was at a dispensary.
I'm trying to think what besides like angel dust they would lace it with.
I don't know what, but had me fucking nervous.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? It could have been. They could have mixed it in with some of that. What do they call it? The what is that? That Delta 8 shit, whatever. Or is it like the fake weed, like the
I
synthetic
love
weed?
like the K2. Not
Yeah.
that stuff because that stuff like gives you a headache. I mean, it made me fucking dizzy when I've tried that before.
I had an existential experience when I smoked that K2 one time, and it was just awful. I was
Hmm.
sitting there paranoid as fuck. I was very, very, very conscious of my mortality. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was like, I could die any second from some
Hmm.
bizarre shit. And I'm sitting there like, fuck, I really could. And I'm like, I'm never smoking this shit again. I'll tell you that right now, motherfuckers. This shit is making me paranoid as fuck. Because
Shit. I was like,
regular
I
weed
could
doesn't make
die from this shit. That's what I
yeah,
was
I
thinking.
could die. Yeah. I'm like, this is not this is not the road we were going down. We wanted to go down the fun road, not the oh my God, how am I going to, survive this tonight?
And it had a
Uh
shitty taste to it.
yeah, it has weird taste to it. I don't
Hmm.
know. It was just like this, like a rotten. I can't describe it, but it was just didn't. When you smoke like regular weed, even if it's like the weaker stuff, you get kind of that green kind of smell and taste and all that kind of stuff. But this shit, it was just like it was almost like melted plastic kind of shit. I mean, it wasn't that bad,
Yeah,
but
that's what it was. It was something like that though.
yeah, it was just disgusting. Uh and it was one of those things where it was just like they were selling it at the bodega, and it was pretty cheap, and a lot of times you broke and you're like, all right, let me try this. And yeah, it's not worth it. So
Right.
do not do K2, folks. It's just I don't know. I don't know what it does to you physically, like if it
Hmm.
harms you or whatnot. I'm pretty sure it does, but the shit tastes bad. It doesn't really get you high like you want to be, and it's just it makes you paranoid as fuck too.
And at that time when I was smoking that was like right before the time when you had the fucking guy in Miami who's fucking eating somebody's face off and everybody got
Yeah,
all
the bath
spooked on the
salts
bath
guy.
salts and shit.
Bath
Yeah.
salts, yeah. I remember that. Those
I
were
was
the
like,
days.
leaving that shit alone.
You're talking to a friend. You're like, "Hey, did you hear about the guy who was eating faces because he was doing that bathtub crank or some shit, or he had some
Hmm.
bath salts?" Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, eating faces down in Florida. I was like, "That's Florida." Yeah, they just
Well,
eating faces.
and then tying in the creepy shit and that to my other scary story of being in Louisiana. I was driving through one night and I decided, instead of driving the normal way from Florida to KC, let me try this other route. This looks farther back when you're reading the maps and stuff.
Right.
And I took 10 straight out and I was going to take, going up 55 and all that going up to KC. And I passed through this area called Transylvania, Louisiana.
Da-da-da,
I'm telling you, all the light poles were like that leaning over the road.
oh
And
no.
the only thing I saw, this was like 2, 3 in the morning.
Oh shit.
Only lights that I saw on was this church.
Oh boy.
A church open at 2, 3 in the morning. l- Doors were wide open, all the lights on, and it was like all visitors and travelers are all welcome any time of the day or night. I was like, I am not stopping here. I am not
That's a
stopping here.
trap. That's a trap. Yeah. It's a trap. Yeah.
I'm like,
That's some yeah.
I'm about to be on the real life True Blood.
Yeah, you walk up in there, see people drinking strychnine out of mason jars and playing with rattlesnakes. That's when you know it's time to go. Them snakes and strychnine, they are not for you, my friend. They are not for you. Uh yeah, those churches are wild like that, man. And this is like some in Podunk, it was like in bumfuck Egypt, right? You said it was
Oh
some place
yeah,
called
I mean
Transylvania.
Transylvania, Louisiana,
Transylvania.
and I'm a black man in the South in the middle of the night by myself. I'm like, oh fuck no, I'm not stopping here.
You're hitting
10 and
all the
2, 10
tropes.
and
Yeah.
2, 10 and 2.
This is like what is that? What is it? The guy who did Get Out. That just sounds like a movie he would do. A black man in the South in a town called
Jordan Peele.
Transylvania. Yeah, Jordan Peele. You get that. Jordan Peele presents Transylvania.
In
You
fact,
know,
I
and then-
wonder, like, what's the population of? In fact, I wonder if you can find it. What's the population of Transylvania, Louisiana?
well, we can
Because I mean,
make those dreams come true. Hang on. A
it
sec.
has to be a really small town, and it was like pitch dark. Couldn't see nothing from either side of the road. And I was like one of the few cars traveling up and down the road. I was like, oh, if I got a flat right here, right now, this is like perfect horror scene to get stuck in. Leatherface is out there somewhere waiting on me, or Jeepers Creepers or some shit.
Well, according to Shittypedia, Transylvania is an unincorporated community in East Carroll Parish, Louisiana. As of the 2000 census, the population of Transylvania was a staggering 743 people. And that's probably 742 more people than you thought actually lived in that town. Is that right?
Oh, definitely. I figured, man, at most they got about 7 people here.
And they all show up to that church. It's just, that's it. And then they leave, and then there's nobody in the town. It's a ghost town.
I bet you everybody there is related. I bet you.
They probably are. 700, was it 743 people? They probably got 32 teeth amongst them. In total.
Or if it's not a horror, it's one of those crazy comedies. Like you break down in the town and you show up to the mechanic. He's like, well, we can get you a new tire. It's going to take you about 4 days. And then you're like, well, let me go get a hotel room. And then you go over there and it's the same guy in the hotel room. Is a mechanic and he's the post office.
He just puts on a different hat. You need a room there, bud? Yeah, I just told you I needed a room. Wait a minute, I thought you were the mechanic. Yeah, I'm also the short order cook. I'm also the chief of police.
Yeah.
I'm also the school marm. I'm also the preacher. Yeah, they're just like, well, who else is here?
And if you're feeling a little frisky at night, I'm also the late night entertainment.
Hey, you like strychnine and playing with snakes? I do. I love it. I love it all day long. That's all we do here in Transylvania. Snakes and strychnine. I don't even know what why would people even drink strychnine? Is it to tempt God or something? Is that what they're trying to do when they play with the snakes?
Well, what they say is they're like trying to show their faith, that they believe God is going to protect them no matter how much danger that they put themselves in because their faith.
That is so ridiculous. I would not do that. I wouldn't tempt fate anyway like that, much less try to like tempt God as like, hey, what you gonna do? I'm drinking that strychnine. You gonna take me? Mm-hmm. Look at that snake. He just keeps keep going. You gonna take me, Lord? And they do. They end up dying, and you're like, you dumbass. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. Drinking poison and playing with poisonous snakes. But
it's like that old joke. You know, that old joke about the guy with the flood? Remember?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm waiting for God to save me.
Yeah. Send him a boat. Send him a car, a boat, and a helicopter. Yeah. So it's like, they get to heaven, then they're like, God, why didn't you help us? He's like, yeah, I sent you a boat. I sent you a car. I sent you a helicopter. What do you want from my life?
Exactly.
You know? Because I think God's Jewish, and he would go, "What do you want with my life? Why are things so expensive?" I'm sorry, that was terrible.
God, that'd be terrible. Get up there and God sounds like Mel Brooks. I mean,
what a world! Quick, comb the desert. I know, right? If Mel Brooks is God, and he's been here this whole time, and God made some funny movies. He did.
Oh, I think he makes funny movies all the time and terrifying movies too.
Oh yeah. Well, he makes disaster movies. That's for fucking sure. Like,
gotta think the greatest director of all time, man. He gives you a little everything.
Yeah, and he's still kicking too. He's in his 90s. He's still rocking and rolling, man. You know, good living, I guess. I guess he didn't do any like whoring around or anything in the old days. I think he was married to Anne Bancroft forever, and then she died, but he's still alive. So
I don't know. The conspiracy theorists out there, like, it's all the adrenochrome, keeps you kicking long.
Nothing says living to 100 like adrenochrome, right? Just ask what's his name, Kissinger. He died. Well, Carter too. You think Carter was into that kind of stuff? You think
I don't
he
know.
did that?
He was like,
man.
you know what? I'm just eating nothing but peanuts. So maybe that's what it was. He swore up all the red meat.
I'm just a simple peanut farmer who likes to eat peanuts. I like eating peanuts. I think peanuts are good. I like to make a peanut butter. I like a nice creamy peanut butter, not too much oil. My brother Billy, he likes to make this Billy beer, and it tastes like piss. I swear, I've drank piss, because I lived on a farm, so I know what piss tastes like, and that's what that Billy beer tastes like. Sorry, that was my Jimmy Carter impression. R.I.P. King. Did you like Jimmy Carter? Did we do with this, or were you just like, he's just another cracker?
I look at it like this: if I'm just going over his time as an elected official, as the president, it leaves a lot to be desired. But if you look at like his body of work after he left the White House, I mean, there's not too many public figures that you can really stack up against. Like, the man was only trying to do good, whether you agree with him or not. It seems like his intention was always to try to do right and try to improve things and make the world a better place than he found. It just happens that the world decided, fuck you, Jimmy Carter, we're going to be worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, I give him a lot of credit with his post-presidential work. And I guess when he was president, he helped out the veterans a lot, because a lot of veterans weren't getting the medical benefits they were supposed to be getting. So he helps spearhead. That's how my dad ended up, because my dad had been fighting forever, and he ended up, when Carter was office, getting his benefits like that. And then afterwards, the only thing that I really had a problem with Carter was probably later in life, when he succumbed to the Trump derangement syndrome too. I'm like, okay, Jimmy, you got to be above this shit. You may not like Trump or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. You can call out whatever's wrong with him, but he was just like, we can't have him in the office. It's just too bad. And we got to get Kamala in there. And I'm like, did you even say that? I mean, you're 100 years old. How lucid would he have been? Right. Remember they took him outside and he looked dead. You remember that picture? He's just sitting there. I mean, I think he was dead. I think he died like a few weeks ago, and they were just carting him out.
I think that there's a lot of these political officials that, they prop them up, and when they're not on their best legs, I mean, you look at what happened with Reagan, you look at what happened with what is the name? Why am I blanking on his name? New Deal.
FDR.
FDR, you look at him towards the end. You look at a lot of these, and there's other presidents even before that where I'm blanking on the guy's name, but like, he literally was like almost comatose, and they like rigged up something where, okay, his arm moved and shit like that.
Holy
shit. His wife was like, answering questions to the press and then pretending like, oh, he's just in bed and he's not feeling too great. But
right, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, she was like actually the president.
She was actually the president. Yeah, and they strung that shit out for like probably a good maybe 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Reagan towards the end too. I mean, it was basically Nancy and the astrologer running things, wasn't it? I mean, they were kind of making policies here and there, and he was
Nancy was running it the whole time.
You think she was running?
Oh yeah, I mean.
If you think it was Nancy and Bush Senior too? Because I kind of have this theory that Bush was president the whole time too, and Reagan really wasn't in it at all.
Well, if you look at his political life before that, he was basically a Democrat the whole time.
Yeah.
And then once he got with Nancy, that's when he took that hard right swing all of a sudden.
Ooh.
And I think he was taking a role. And so she was the one who was pushing more of the agenda. And they're like, okay, the whole establishment is like, we're going to get a guy in there that knows what he's doing. And so you get in trouble in the meetings, you know, he can kind of give that little nudge the right way. And that's what I think Bush was doing. He was the
Yeah.
one to kind of course correct and keep him, you know, straight most of the time. Whereas once he get home, she would be like, well, babe, this is what you actually really need to be doing. And you need to tell them this. And so I think that they were
Mhm.
both kind of they both were kind of nudging him in each direction, because
Yeah.
you can see his instincts, though I think he's still a blatant racist and all that other stuff. I still think he was that old-fashioned Democratic racist and just
Yeah.
became a Republican racist, you know, with them kind of guiding him more into the establishment ways of the right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, if you think about it, Trump was the same way. He was a Democrat, and he just goes wherever the wind goes,
He
and
goes
wherever
where
the
the
money
money
goes.
goes.
Yeah,
Yep.
wherever the money is coming to him, coming his way, he will definitely like he'll take like one of those sticks, you know, that looks for water, but his looks for money, and it's like, zzz, okay, here you go. I found my new one, because he flip flops on so many fucking things. It's like, how do any of these Trumpers take him seriously like that? They got to be just being snowed, you know, because of the rhetoric and stuff like that. I mean, who's he surrounding himself with now? Is it Elon running the show? You think Elon is actually running that?
No, I think what it is he's basically behind closed doors. This is what he says. Hey, what y'all got to offer me? Because everything's for sale, and he's fucking running an auction there. He's literally, oh, okay, so you want energy, and you want to do that with that, and so you want the drugs, and you want that. Oh, rare earth minerals, that's what you need. Okay, how much you gonna give me? And that's he's just opened up shop. He's just selling off parts of the government, and he's leaving it as, you know, whatever big business wants to do, and whoever wants to pay the most to get in here to push your agenda, cool. Just break me off first. And that's pretty much what he's doing.
Yeah.
I look at you have a lot of, well, the person who's really running this, let's be honest, is Miriam Adelson. She's the one
Yeah.
running it,
Yeah.
because she's the one who's putting all of these pieces in place. And it's like, how is your APAC rating? If APAC says you're
Mhm.
okay, then that's who is going, because if you look at the list of people that's been put in, and you can say the Republican Party has been that way for a long time, no matter who. It's just the difference is now it's Miriam Adelson. Before it was Sheldon Adelson who was
Mhm.
doing everything. So I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Uh yeah, I always know these people. And we all know that Biden is being controlled by somebody. Because you know, he can't even control his fucking bowels
Well,
on the regular.
the only difference is on the Democratic side, it's more of a committee of people which you're being controlled by,
Mhm.
whereas you have the, you know, you have the Bill Gateses, you have the Bezoses, which Bezos flips either side. Whichever side's in power, that's the one I'm going to try to, you know, get whatever I can get out of them. But you have the Bill Gates, you have the one which, what's the ones the right is always, you know, losing the gasket over.
Warren Buffett.
Not Warren Buffett. They have every conspiracy theory about him. Markham, I can't remember his name for anything right now, but they blame every conspiracy theory on him. Shit, whatever.
Oh, you talking about Alex Jones?
No, not Alex Jones. Soros. Thank you.
Oh, George
We are
Soros. Yeah.
Ronan. We are Ronan and
We
Steve Gill.
Ronan. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
That's
Yes.
who's pushing a big chunk of it, but also I don't know if it's still completely together under the same name, but you remember Alec?
Yeah. Yeah. I do.
That's who's pushing a lot of the agenda for the Democrats, because I remember some time back I went through and I studied every elected official at that time. So I went through all 435 members of Congress and all 100 members of the Senate and
Holy crap.
looked through what was their reported donations and who they came from. And I was able to see, okay, so you're completely bought off by United Healthcare, Pfizer, and what was the other one that was a big one? Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Blue Cross
And
Blue
then
Shield.
Kaiser came in shortly after that. And then over here, you had this big chunk that was okay. Eli Whitney, Bank of America, Chase, ING is controlling this handful here. And then this is the group who Northrop Grumman, and that whole the Boeing and all of that group is controlling
Or
this.
MIC gang, yeah.
Yeah, and then the corporations which were big on the right, and I forgot. Silicon Valley is huge also.
Yeah.
So all of the Silicon Valley, different Google and all of those platforms. And then on the right, where I saw it was the weapons contractors also, and then you throw in all of the oil and gas were a big part of the right, along with the gun lobby, which is not so big anymore, but you're able to see basically all of C Street and how each person is voting is completely connected to which donor that they have, and it gets pretty easy to tell. And then the icing on the top of it is, what is your standing with whichever APAC or whatever. And when I say APAC, I'm just saying that as a blanket term because there's so many other donors and contributors which fall up under and which work with APAC.
Right. Yeah.
And so the probably 30 or so, how is your standing with those groups? Along with whoever is you're getting your donors from C Street. And that's how it falls out, because if you look at all of their all of the different elected officials assistants, those are the people who are writing the actual legislation, and these people all are the lawyers coming from all of these various corporations.
Well, it makes sense too, because like a lot of these politicians are in their 70s and up too, and yeah, and that's the new thing now is like, I think maybe Reagan had that too with the because like most of the same people that was in Reagan's cabinet ended up in Bush Jr.'s cabinet, and kind of was doing the same kind of controlled tactics with him as well. That's all you need is you need somebody with some level of charisma that can be used as a patsy that you can use to control the office like that. The only reason Biden became president was out of desperation to stop Bernie. Yeah, that was it. I mean, if Bernie doesn't have that run, Biden's not president. It's probably somebody else. I don't think it's Amy Klobuchar.
No,
or the fuck, what's his name? Bill Maher, that idiot. He's like, Amy Klobuchar. Like, will you shut the fuck up about Amy Klobuchar? Jesus Christ.
I would honestly say the last president, which was really controlling their own agenda, you'd probably have to go all the way back to like Eisenhower. That's probably the last time there's been a president who was actually really controlling things and pushing an agenda and talking to Congress. Okay, what are we going to actually do? And besides just being a figurehead, pretty much after that, most of them were figureheads and pushing a certain agenda. And what it is they had a little bit of leeway to do some of their own pet projects and things that they wanted. But what's happened is each president since then, that window is closed more and more and more. And that's the reason why they're down to arguing about trans bathrooms and they're trying to take the Christ out of Christmas and shit like that.
Oh yeah, the war on Christmas. I always love that. I always love the war on Christmas. It's like you just see all this Christmas stuff all over the place. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're really losing the war on Christmas. I mean, yeah, it's just another divisive tactic to get people to not pay attention to shit that we all would probably agree on. right?
Yep.
That's we divide and conquer. We get you to argue over these fucking virtue signaling and just shit that just really is not in the grand scheme important.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just enough to get your blood boiling and then get you to do all this crazy shit in your mind. And the next thing you know, you're just talking shit and stuff. So I don't know, man. I try to talk to people and I try to different ways to talk to people to communicate with them. Right. It's almost like comedy and the fact that you got to know the room. You got to know you got to read the room. You got to be able to read people. So you can't just like some of these people, they get out the thing that, they're now so-and-so, you need to do this, and this instead of talking to the person and like trying to find out, was that from that song, Cypress Hill. I just want to kill a man. How do you know where I'm at when you don't know where I've been? Because you don't know where I'm coming from. And that's the thing. You don't get personal with people and try to find out what their problems are and say, hey, look, maybe there's some sort of not communist, but like a sociological way of dealing with this problem. Right. And you can do that. You can, as long as you don't talk to people about communism or socialism and just put those words out there and you just kind of describe what you'd like to do with people. Because I understand the fear of there being authoritarianism and stuff like that and any kind of centralized thing. I understand that. That's why we all need to get together and come up with a brand new system that fits the 21st century and fits the needs of the people and gets the corporations and, all this over government out of the way. But, you got to get people together first.
And always go into my thing is always education. That's the reason why I try to talk to people as much about these different topics, because you have so many people who are so vastly misinformed and don't have a full grasp of things. I mean, taking mine like Miami, a lot of the Cuban citizens down there, they're communism, socialism, the worst thing ever. Honestly, what your problem is not even communism, socialism. You're worried about authoritarianism. And the same thing with a lot of these people who complain about Russia and complain about China. It's authoritarianism, which your real gripe. It's not even about the system. It's about the crackdowns and the fascism and the brutality and all that. That's not necessarily what communism or socialism is. Because you can have authoritarianism and capitalism. You can have authoritarianism in all of these different systems, just understanding that what is your real gripe here? And also when you factor in how some of these other countries, like for instance, people always talking about the China, the communist, China, the CCP. It's not even actually really communist. It's very capitalistic in China.
Yeah. It's like a blend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so what that would actually make it is that would make it more like a social democracy. Not quite even capitalism. I mean, not quite capitalism, not quite communism. So it'd be that little bit of a mix, which a social democracy is basically a strong safety net with government being involved in certain key factors, and then still having a little autonomy for you to have capitalism and still make money and enterprise.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people too confuse capitalism with commerce too, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with exchanging goods and services for something of equal value. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about economic systems that are geared towards the rich. It really is. It's and there is no, unless you come up with like some sort of miracle or miraculous product that you can sell and make a bazillion dollars right off the bat, you're not going to be a billionaire in this world or this country unless you do some nefarious things to get there. Right.
Well, when you're talking about laissez-faire capitalism and predatory capitalism, there's a difference, because even a lot of our socialist and communist brothers and sisters on the other side of it, for the people on the right, a lot of them who scream so much everything is communism, socialism, that they have a big problem with. A lot of our brothers and sisters who love the communism, they think capitalism is just one thing. There's different levels to this,
Mhm.
you know. And when you get into predatory capitalism or laissez-faire, laissez-faire is like, let's strip all the rules away. Boxing works because you have weight classes and MMA and all that. So you're having competition within people who are on an even playing field.
Mhm.
The way our capitalist system works, you don't have any of those safeguards. You don't have any of those rules or
Right.
checks to keep it even. If I have a mom and pop business, I should only have to compete with another mom and pop business, and there should be subsidies to kind of help me be able to fight the bigger corporation. Instead of our system gives the subsidies to the bigger corporation to
Yeah.
fight against the smaller corporations.
Yeah. That's exactly what they do too,
Mhm.
right? Like you'll have like this happened in my town, little Wiggins, Mississippi, back in the like the late 80s, early 90s, I think. They had a Walmart came in, and a whole bunch of these little stores just poof disappeared because of that Walmart. And the people were like, "Oh, well, it's convenient and the prices are low." I said, "Yeah, but it kills your town too.
Oh,
It
completely.
kills yeah, and that's money that those little stores was bringing money back into that town, right? Whereas
Mhm.
Walmart may pay a little tax here and there, but they go through so many fucking loopholes and shit
Oh,
that they
yeah.
don't they end up like getting money back. Like you said, they get this the corporate welfare
Mhm.
from the government, and yeah, and then if they do get any some sort of like help financially from the government, all they do is just they end up doing stock buybacks and
Mhm.
artificially inflating the price of the company.
Yeah.
So uh, I don't really know where I was going with that.
No, well,
But
that's I can hop onto that because
please do.
it, what you said there is something something that is really it really triggered a memory for me. Before I switched over to secondary education, majoring in history, minoring in political science, I went to business school before that. I was going for business administration. And you got to do a little bit of economics in there too. But before I switched over, believe it or not, there is a whole chapter in there about Walmart and ethics and the way they run things. And Walmart's business model. I mean, I don't know how they do things. If you already have Walmarts and you haven't been in a town where Walmart comes in, what they actually do is they come in, they pay higher wages, benefits, all those things to make it so that that smaller mom and pop business or grocery store cannot keep up. And then they buy everything in mass bulk from overseas, and have extremely low prices so that they start pricing out the other stores. Also, at the same time, they're taking all of their top talent, all their top cashiers, stockers, whatever, pharmacists. They bring all of them over to Walmart at that higher rate. Then what they've done is they keep their prices just low enough so that eventually those stores, in order to keep the lights on, they got to raise their prices. Once they raise their prices and they can't pay their workers as much, eventually they go under. After they've ran all the competition out, what Walmart does is they fire all those people. Um, and then the next crop of people, they pay them a lower wage and they don't give them any of those benefits. When I was married, my ex-wife was one of those people who went into Walmart making really good money, having the benefits, all that, just to get fired about 6 months later
Mm,
because now they had forced those other businesses out of business in that area. I mean, they also have another thing called dead pheasants insurance, which, if people don't know about dead pheasants insurance, what it is they take out a policy on all of their employees and say that employee comes down with some kind of cancer or something like that, which is a debilitating illness. They can't pay for it themselves. They end up dying. They take out that full insurance policy on you and say the spouse can't even, they don't even have the money to bury their loved one. But Walmart just walked away with, 700,000 off of your
Mm.
death.
Mm. That's like another level of evil
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And that's what people don't understand in this country when they say, oh, well, you're going to make it where we're going to be in bread lines and shit like that. It's like, no, it's just, but they don't see how out of control this crony capitalism has gotten, along with, how much the politicians and elected officials have been paid off by these various interest groups that want them to do certain things, approve certain bills, deny certain bills. And, it's just frustrating, man. It's just very frustrating.
Something also that's happened is, remember how we talked about that it's taken away any wiggle room for those politicians on the national level to try to do anything. They've made enough money now where the corruption doesn't stay at that level. Now it's went to the state houses. Now it's went to your local aldermen or your city councilmen.
Particularly in the big giant cities too, particularly in those cities. Yeah.
But it's
more
even
so ever.
all your big cities are already compromised.
Yeah.
Your whole New York area, and I'm not talking about just New York City. I'm talking about all the way up to Albany, Syracuse. All that's corrupted. I mean, from Stockton, California, all the way down to San Diego. All of that is gone. The same thing with Chicago and many of those areas. That's gone. Your Baltimores, your DCs, your Atlantas, all of that, all the way down to your smallest elected official, dog catcher. All of those people are corrupted.
Yeah.
You have a little bit of autonomy when you get to, like a Eugene, Oregon or something like that. But for the most part, even if there's a key position there, let's say there is some kind of nuclear plant in that area, then they're going to be corrupted too to that level. And that's what we saw with Shawant out there in Washington, in Seattle area, how they dropped $1 million into her race.
Oh yeah. She and she, and I think she realized that electoral politics is probably not even where she was at, as liberal as it was, that it's we have to get people out in the streets now. This whole voting thing.
Well, that's something that I'll throw out there for people who don't understand California. They talk about how California is so left. No, what it is it's establishment Democrats. It's neoliberal. It's far left on social issues, but when it gets to the economics, it's not much different than the Republicans. It's really virtually the same thing.
Because they're all political machines, and all these machines and all these big cities like that run the same way. And like you said, now you're starting to see it trickle down to like the smaller towns and stuff like that too. And that was the last stand, was the states, right?
Yeah, it's complete capture time now. Complete capture.
Yeah. And because at least with states, you can do state ballot initiatives, that you have a little more control of state laws through the people there. But even then, they'll get these state ballot initiatives and they'll say, oh, well, you didn't, this little technical thing here you didn't do, so no, we're not going to be able to put this on the ballot, that kind of shit. So that's another thing that they're fighting too, that kind of corruption.
Or what they do out here, especially like in LA County where I'm at, what happens a lot of times is you'll get it on the ballot. Fine, cool. But what happens is 5 or 6 other organizations get together and they write their own bill, which muddies the water so much. It makes it so complicated and runs 50 gazillion commercials to confuse the hell out of everybody. So by the time you actually come down to voting, and then they stack so many amendments on there, it's hard to take the time to research them all. And so by the time you vote on something, you're voting the opposite way of what you plan to vote, because they've mixed everything up and confuses so much, muddying the waters.
Or and they could have put a poison pill in there too, something that nobody's going to want. You know, they play these games all the time like that to not get things done. At least not get, to not get things done that the people want. You know, what their masters want, they'll just, rubber stamp that every time, but and I get people's frustrations why it's like, well, why doesn't the government work for us? It's just because the government doesn't represent us anymore, if it ever did, right? And that's what we need to get to, is to get our government to represent us. But it's, this, and I know this, and a lot of the people watching this know this too. You ain't gonna do it with clean hands. It's you have to get your hands dirty and probably bloody too. I mean, if we're being real on this, if we want real change, because it's like they said, they're not going to just give up. The oligarchs and these people that's controlling things, they're not going to be like, well, the people have spoken. We're gonna head this way, and here you can take all our money and do what you want. They ain't gonna do that. Nope. Shit. They're gonna send the National Guard after you. They're gonna send their police forces after you. Whatever it is to keep you in line, that's what they're going to do, because it's get in line time now. It's because they're not even trying to hide shit anymore. They're telling you shit that they're going to do out in the open, because they know you ain't going to do nothing until you get in the streets, and they know you're not going to get in the streets because they got you snowed over with the propaganda and the lies and all the bullshit they've told you for decades. And I understand why some people get, well, why can't they just get it through their head? Because they've been propagandized, and the older they are, the more propagandized they've been. And it's hard to turn somebody around like that. You have to give them love. You have to be patient, because eventually you might be able to break through, but it's going to take a while, and we ain't got the time. We need to get everybody. We need to rally the troops right now, because I think 2025 is going to be a real shit Sunday. And no Cool Whip. Just straight shit.
I think these next 2 years definitely are going to be rough. That's what I would say. And I know you being, knowing a lot of different movies and pop culture references, you'll probably remember which movie it is. I'm blanking on it, but I remember this, it was like a martial arts / Western kind of thing. He was like, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this foot right here, and I'm going to put it on the side of your head. And that's what they're doing to the American people. They're literally telling us, like looking us in the face and saying, I'm gonna put this foot upside your head, and there's not anything you're gonna be able to do to stop it. And it's so many people where they've always felt like there's always something I can do, have never faced the reality or scenario where it's like, you know what, I'm actually fucked. I can't do anything. There's nothing I can do about this. And I think it takes a while before it sets into some people the gravity of the situation. Now, there are things you could do if you can get enough power and support, because our only power and support is the masses. And if you can't wake the masses, you can't do anything. And that's the thing. You got to wake the people first before you try this movement. Now, I think the one thing which might help us, which I don't know, is in the past with the FDR wasn't doing all these things to save us. FDR was trying to save capitalism, and he saw the dire straits which things were going in, and he knew this sewage is going to roll into our yards if we don't fix this right now, or at least stem the flow. Now, what I worry about is, because this is generations and generations and generations of wealth, you had the Fords who, he wasn't too far away from poverty. He understood what it was to be an average person because he didn't come from that far away. These people are generational wealth. And so it hasn't clicked in their head the gravity and the danger that they can be in if everything hit the fan. And I think with the whole Luigi situation, it's probably scared a couple of them. And so maybe they might be thinking a little bit different. But I can't remember that one CEO that's been going on all those TED Talks years ago. It was like Nick Hauser or something. I don't remember his name exactly. But he was like, I'm trying to get my fellow rich people to wake up before the pitchforks comes for us. Because when things collapse, and what'll wake the people up is the loss of comfort.
Yeah.
When people's loss
Yeah.
of comfort and loss of ease goes away, when you're sitting there some of these days and they're rolling blackouts because they're like, hey, well, we can't afford to keep power over to your area anymore. Or it hits this major bust, and all of a sudden inflation goes to the roof and you're paying $12 for a loaf of bread. When it hits that, that's when it's going to make people, actually buck up and change, because you have an underclass of people who are struggling through that. Many of us who are talking and listening right now are dealing with that. But it's kind of like a high-rise building. Yeah, the people on the first floor, all the flooding is affecting them. And so they got a problem with it. They're trying to wake everybody up to it. That's us. But when that water starts creeping up to the third, fourth, fifth, sixth floor, then those people at the higher levels will start to scream and notice the problem. But that's the thing. A lot of people, the water's not getting to them yet. I got a feeling it's coming.
We are definitely, you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the comfort, taking away the comfort, because we are a society of we'll have empathy, but we won't really give a shit till it happens to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It could be any sort of thing. Like, it could be somebody that is just like a bald-faced liar, and your friend's like, no, that person's cool. No, that person has done a lot of lying to me, so I know this person's a liar. Well, that was to you, but they didn't do this to me. And then later, when they are lied to or whatever is done to them, they're like, hey, you were right. I wish I would have listened to you. I mean, people don't say that all the time, but some people, when they finally get their eyes open, they do realize who it was that helped open their eyes to it. And you're right. It's like especially, I always point this going back to like the 80s with Reagan, but I think it goes further than that. Like maybe after World War II, when we weren't, when you could afford a house on the one paycheck, right? You could afford to have a part-time job and go to school and get an education. The stuff that was affordable, right? The money made sense as far as like your salary and what you could do with it, right? It was fine. And then once you got to around the 70s and they're basically around Reagan's time, that's when it all went to shit and everything was fucked up. But but now it's like Gen X is probably the first generation to feel the discomfort, right? They're like one of the first generations to not do as well as the previous one, right? Because it's always supposed to be like the next generation
I would
is
say it's
supposed to do better.
50-50. I'd say it's 50-50 with Gen X, because you got some of Gen X that's feeling it and some of them that are completely aloof to
Yeah,
it
that's
all.
true. That's true. And you're talking more towards like the boomer side.
Yeah, I'm
of
talking
Gen
about a
X.
little bit
Yeah.
older Gen X, the younger Gen X that's probably, because technically at a point, I used to be considered Gen X until they changed the shit. So I'm like a couple of months off from being Gen X.
Yeah,
Now
we'll
I'm
keep you.
considered
We'll
an
keep
elder
you.
millennial, which is kind of ridiculous.
We talked to the commissioner and he said it's fine. We'll allow you to sign you to Gen X for a 4-year contract. So
that's I have a lot more in common with Gen X, and people don't realize it, but that year or so makes a huge difference.
yeah, there is spillover. I think that like the first couple of years of the millennials, I think we probably bring them into Gen X too. Yeah, it's definitely like that. It's
I
the
feel like
mindset too.
40, I would say what, 41 and up are definitely probably really Gen X.
They're the ones who know shit, who at least remember.
And they're the ones who they're in that group that's feeling it, that late 50s, and not so much. That Gen Xer, which is the late 50s, they're not feeling it quite as much, because many of them were able to buy their houses in the 90s. They were
Yeah.
able to not get hit with a lot of the inflation and not get hit with the market crash, and they were a certain degree of comfort already. They were
Mhm.
able to go out and party and have fun and then have their kids, and then shit hit the fan after they already had some assets. It's the group that didn't have those assets yet, and they were still renting, and they haven't
Yeah.
moved into an apartment. Moved into a house. They're the ones who were feeling it.
Well, and then too, when they were privatizing student loans too, whenever it stopped being a federal student loan and it became
Mhm.
privatized, that fucked up the works for Gen X too.
Why you mentioned that when we're talking about Reagan already? Reagan was the one who basically started a lot of these problems because he said, wait a minute, these kids shouldn't be getting free college, basically, and this super cheap college." And he started that in California,
Hmm.
making them pay. And then as he did that, the rest of the states followed. And that's when college started rising and rising and rising. That's the reason why you have some people like, well, I was able to work a second job and pay for my college. Yeah, how much did college cost back then? Didn't cost shit. That's why, And
Yeah.
so that's where that disconnect comes in with the older Gen X to young, very young boomers.
Hmm. Yeah. It's they're still stuck in this mentality like it's still the 50s and everything costs a nickel, and you can buy a house and go to get a college degree, and only one of you has to work.
Or you could even say in the 80s, the guppies, the yuppie movement.
Yeah. Greed is good from
Hmm.
Wall Street. That was another. That was where greed was actually um, really fostered. Is when it started in the 80s, because greed would, and which was, well, you had your evangelicals too, who were just like all about the Republicans and stuff, but they weren't addressing anything about greed,
Hmm.
which
Well,
that's one of the reasons I'm not quite as religious as I used to be, is because I
well,
don't really like
you
people
throw
like
the
that.
Jack Welch in there. Jack Welch is the ones who like changed the modern corporation to, okay, well, let's not make sure our employees can afford a house and that they can work here and have a pension. Let's fucking start chopping all that shit. We don't, the worker is just an extra expense for us. And that's what started a lot of that greed is good and made movies like Wall Street, such a big phenomenon. And that's
Yeah.
what brought on the Donald Trumps and all that were worried about being flashy and having all the nicest things. And who gives a shit about the fucking poor people that you see, the shitty economy that was going on in New York at the time.
Nobody wants to work anymore. Nobody wants to work. Yeah, nobody wants to work shit jobs that don't pay anything, that treat you like shit. Yeah, nobody wants those jobs anymore. You're right.
And
You're
nobody
absolutely
wants to
right.
be an indentured servant. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. You're basically just somebody's paid bitch at some point, and it's like, no, no, not doing that today. Um, we're about a half hour past the mountain time, so happy New Year mountain time. Oops. I don't I don't really know anybody in the mountain time, so I hope that's okay. If you're in the
I don't
mountain
know.
time, I'm sorry, in the
Check
chat.
the chat. Hopefully they're not too mad at us.
Anybody mountain time in the chat? If so, happy birthday. I mean, happy New Year, or whatever the hell we're celebrating today. I keep forgetting. What is this,
Wow.
Thursday? Are we is it Pizza Friday yet? Or is it Did you have Pizza Friday? Did you have Pizza Fridays in school?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah, man.
I part of me wants to track down wherever they got that pizza from and just have one and see how I would react to it now, because I don't know, I have such great memories of that, like sixth grade, seventh grade pizza that we used to get all the time. Because once high school changed, for us, it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because if you had a little bit of money, you can go over to that one little area and just buy shit. And I'd be like, you know what? I'm getting one of those fucking big ass ice cream cookie. What was it? Chocolate chip cookie ice cream sandwiches, or the strawberry shortcake.
We had the Mickey Mouse ice cream on the stick thing, and we'd always eat the ears first and then warp his face to make it look like some sort of horrific looking nightmare figure, like it was a voodoo doll or some shit. But it was good ice cream though. Uh
Mhm.
yeah, but we had the sometimes I think in junior high we actually had the octagon pizzas, right? The ones shaped like a stop sign. But then you get to high school and it was like, it was just this vanilla ass rectangles. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But
That's the ones I remember.
if you take like a Totino's pizza, a frozen pizza, leave it out in the sun for about 4 hours, a hot sun. That's what one of those pizzas that the high school tastes like. Because back then you're like, ooh, pizza, and you're like, you kind of eat, and you're like, well, it doesn't taste like, Pizza Hut, but still it's pizza. And now you're like, man, I'm not eating that shit. That's some Totino's left out in the sun.
It was that and the and what was it? The Salisbury steak that were my
Oh
staples.
my god. It's like every other day was fucking Salisbury steak or something, and mashed potatoes. Oh my god. Oh, the and now
With
these
the
kids
damn
like,
with the damn peas.
and we was out in the country too, so it wasn't like we could just walk over to a McDonald's or something like that. You had to hop in the car, and they wouldn't let you drive off campus. It was like a whole thing. You had to tuck your shirt in a public school too, man. I'm like, what the fuck kind of place is this? I almost didn't graduate high school because my hair was too long. Me and about four
Wow.
other people, we refused to cut our hair because fuck it, we didn't want to cut our hair. We was already tucking our shirts in. That was enough. So, but then they said, okay, just trim it a little bit, and we'll let you graduate. And I said, all right. So we took like a millimeter off of it, and we're still flowing with that fucking mullet, man. That business in the front, that fucking party in the back. Woo, man, some Ric Flair shit. Yeah. So, yeah, those were the days. But yeah, you can't do that shit now. And now you don't get octagon pizza. You probably get like some sort of kale, ass, whatever. Like, we gotta get these kids some healthy food. Like, yeah, well, you ain't gotta be that fucking healthy, all right? Can you give them the octagon pizzas again? Throw them a freaking bone, will you?
Hell, I wonder do they still got vending machines in the schools at this point?
Oh, I wonder. Yeah, it's probably all full of like water and broken dreams or some shit, whatever you can get for. Back in my day, when I was in elementary school, you could get like they would have like right before recess, this lady would come out with this candy cart, and you could buy candy. Like you could buy like a candy bar for like $0.25 or something like that. It was just like if you had $1, you were like a rich person. You buying all this candy. I remember this one kid, he bought like $1 worth of candy. These kids were chasing him down the hall. Give us some candy. Give us like it was Halloween or some shit. Like, leave that poor boy alone. He just wants to eat his candy in peace.
We
But
always
now
had
it's
like a couple of kids who were like selling candy. Like I don't know if their parents like had a Santa card or some shit. And
right.
it is always a couple of kids who before school they're like selling candy.
Right. It was always for like some charity thing or something. They were trying to get a bike or something. They said if they got enough candy bars. And and it was always in like the gold foil with the white thing or whatever. And it always said like whatever the school was and whatever the thing they were doing.
Oh, well, we had like some who were like off to the side and they had like sweet tarts and Skittles and all that.
Oh,
other
you
shit
mean
too.
like the kids on the train? The kids on the
Yeah.
train do that. Okay,
Yeah, we had a couple of those who like before school start,
Okay.
like because we had like a little period, especially in middle school, where they would let us come like in the building and like we're kind of chilling in the building. It was a little chilly out before we had to head to our classes, and so they'd like go grab a table somewhere and be like, "Yo, man, I got Starburst here. I got my Skittles. You want some nerds? I mean, you got." Hey, we're like, "Hey, man, I
Like,
made
it's
my
got the
own
Coke.
fun dip. I mean, I got the Kool-Aid with the sugar in the bag, for your fun dip. I mean,
Oh yeah, the what is it? The bootleg fun dip. It's just Kool-Aid and sugar. That's all fun dip is. I remember the fun dip. It had the stick that you could eat, right? The stick you lick it, you put it in there, and you get the thing. And yeah, I remember those. It was like a little threefold thing.
which tastes like the candy cigarettes.
Oh, the candy cigarettes. There's a place in New York. It's in the Lower East Side, I think, and it has all those old school candies in there. They still sell the candy cigarettes with the little red tips. They have the wax edible harmonicas. You remember those? Yum, 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 yum. The wax lips, the candy rings. They had all that shit in there.
And then my thing used to be the assorted sours too. You know, the little balls. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
You getting me now? You get me now.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm more of a Gen X than you know. I remember when MTV used to play music.
Yeah, back in my day, the M and MTV stood for music, and yeah, it was music on television. Yeah, and now it's. Do they even do videos on there? It's just shows now,
It
right?
shows now, yeah. I
It's just
mean, I
shows.
remember when we used to like rush home and like put a tape in and like record music videos.
Did you ever watch Friday night videos when it was on?
Mhm.
Friday night videos, man, that was the shit. I remember once a month though they would have WWF wrestling and they wouldn't have Friday night videos, and it always pissed me off. I'm like, I don't want to see this fucking wrestling shit. I want to see Aha's new video.
Well, that's when my grandma would switch over to, and she's like, "No, I'm watching TV now. We're watching Friday Fright Night."
Friday Fright Night. Oh, was that USA? When
Mhm.
yeah, Fright.
Actually, it was something. It might have been something before USA. It's on something else, maybe. And
Because
then
USA
eventually it
had
went to USA.
because USA had some sort of it was Rhonda Shear and Gilbert Godfrey. They had like she was on
Yeah.
she was on Friday nights, I think, or he was on Friday nights and she was on Saturday nights. Oh, that was USA's Up All Night. That's what it was. USA
Mhm.
Up All Night with Rhonda
Yeah,
Shear.
yeah,
Ooh, ruined many a tissue over that woman.
yeah. Probably her and Elvira too, right?
Ooh, let's just say those titties are spooky. Oh, oh my! I'd like to hollow her ween, if you know what I'm saying. Wait a minute. No, that didn't sound right. No, but you had like, I mean, boobs were everywhere back then because it was like a Russ Meyer film or some shit. It was just like nothing but titties. And now it's just, I don't know. Now they got feelings or something. Pfft, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm a sensitive male. I'm a sensitive male for the most part, up to a point. Um, man, we're moving along here, man. I like this. This is a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was just gonna be me, just like talking shit to people. just, just like
I don't know,
cursing.
taking the audience down a memory lane for those who remember all this stuff. Because
I know
I
this
was
is nice.
I was
Yeah.
trying to tell somebody, I said, if you were born at a certain time period, it's something that you're missing that is kind of hard to explain what you
Yeah.
miss. Because, like, if you weren't at a certain age, like, I want to say pre 9/11, it's things that you're missing because you weren't old enough to understand how different things changed once
Mhm.
9/11 hit.
Right.
And I mean, it was a massive change that happened.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, from think about it. I mean, that's when people stopped really kind of going to the malls as much and stuff. That's when, I mean, that's a time before then, people didn't really have cell phones like that. Like a lot of kids to have a cell phone was like unheard of,
Mhm.
unless you were doing like some either you're a really rich kid or you're doing some shady shit. I remember like kids who were bragging about their pager, and
Yeah, the pagers, yeah. The Motorola pagers.
and you learn how to do all these different codes and shit in there, little messages, hello, and all that shit, and in your pager.
8008 was it 8008 was boobs or boob 80085 I think was boobs or something like that. But yeah, it was like you had that was like the digital divide, right? You have
Mhm.
like you have your Gen Xers and older who remember the time before the cell phones, before like even video games, anything digital. We were analog all the way, there was no staying at the house and playing video games all day. You got your ass outside and did something. Your parents didn't care. Go play. They would just like go, come back
Hell,
when it's before it gets dark,
remember when TV would go off? Like some of these generations don't even know. Like TV used to like stop. I mean, you get that little And this is the end of our evening broadcasting. And, see you again at this. Mhm.
You hear the national anthem and there's some sort of patriotic shit, and then from the snow. This concludes our broadcast day. Yeah, and then I think it's 6 a.m. the next day. It was only off for like 6 hours. It would like go off at midnight and come back at like 6 a.m. This starts today's broadcast day at 16.2 gigawatts hour per hour thing, and they do all this technical shit. Because I remember like getting ready for school, you have to get up pretty early, and I'd watch like either like the Stooges or like Little Rascals, whatever was on. But usually, like you get up at a certain time, and then 6 o'clock hits. All right, get the cereals. Time for the Stooges. But yeah, there was a time where things were not 24 hours. None of the stations were 24 hours. CNN was the first one, I think.
Yeah.
And then after that, people started, that's when infomercials became a big thing. That was the big time filler.
Was it CNN or was it the Weather Channel first?
I don't know. They're both I think they're both owned by the same person.
Well, yeah.
At the time.
Both owned by Ted Turner,
So it could have been Weather Channel. Weather Channel could have been first.
I think it might have been Weather. I think it slightly first, because I think, well, even like CNN, like the first CNN when he's like broadcasting out of his basement.
Yeah. Yeah, what's his name?
The audience is probably like, what the hell are you guys talking about? I don't remember none of that shit.
You had headline news to go along with it too. Is headline news even still a thing? Is this still a network?
Depending on what cable network you have.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, they've like been degraded down to the level of like TYT at this point, but
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, those were the days, man. But see, that's the thing. It's like we were still kind of technically inclined though, because like a lot of our like dads or uncles or somebody in the family, would teach you some stuff about electronics or teach you some stuff about mechanics or something like that. Something, because like back when parents used to teach you like trade skills, so that you'd be able to do shit. That's why you don't really have why they should probably bring back like home ec and like maybe like home budgeting. I think they should totally bring those back.
Home ec, and there needs to be some class teaching finance.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like personal budgets and like anything that has to do with money,
checkbooks, budgeting, like understanding
checkbooks. Look at you. You are so sweet with the checkbook talking. These people don't know what a fucking checkbook is. These fucking youngins out here. I know, right? I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, man, when's the last time you saw a check? Like a check that wasn't from like your great grandma or some shit. Even 10 years ago when I worked at Trader Joe's, it was just that you rarely saw a check. It was just like, and now it's just like, check? Huh? Natunga not
like,
no. What
do I do with this thing?
Oh, you have to sign your name on it. Well, sign? What is this? Sign? You mean like the, like this? No. You have to take a pen and you have to make squiggles that resemble your name. What squig? It's script. You're writing in script, cursive.
Well, even if you said cursive, you said cursive to some of these people young enough, they're not even gonna know what that is, because some schools don't even teach cursive anymore.
Now they don't. I really don't understand that. Are we just printing shit now? Are we just that's it? We're just printing? Everything's over?
Print now. Yes, everything's print now.
I had a calligraphy kit one time when I was younger. You could do those fancy like letters and shit. I could never do that. My shit always looked like stick men, and then I just stopped because it just wasn't worth it. I wasn't fancy enough for calligraphy. So, I don't know. I'm not a fancy person anyway. So,
well, it's like everybody likes my pens. My pens I use at work. They're I have a black one and a blue one. Ballpoint. Was it fountain pens?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, those are like those old school ones. And I'm like, yeah. I mean,
Is it just
after
a
after I
feather
write,
and
I
you
still
stick it
gotta
in?
I gotta blow it
Yeah.
nice and dry.
Oh, I know the ones you're talking about. Yeah, those are the ones. Yeah, the ink doesn't dry right away. You could easily smear it if you don't watch out.
Oh yeah. It smears very easily.
Yeah, but those are nice pens. I like the feel of it. Right. That's
got
another
a
part
little
of
weight
it too.
to it.
You get a little. Yeah, you want something that's got a little weight to it, but flows so sweetly.
Well, and like a
See,
ballpoint, like me, I've broken my hands and wrists multiple times. And so with writing, I don't want to feel like I gotta fucking press down all super hard. And with those, you don't have to. You can just glide right along with you.
the struggle is real, folks. See, some of these kids just don't know. But that's fine. That's what we're here to educate you. That's why we listened to the elders when we were kids, because we wanted to learn some shit, and we did. Sometimes we learned stuff we probably shouldn't have learned, but for the most part, we got some good information from those people, and I feel like we have to pay it forward as adults now. I mean,
Mhm.
you're still a young scrapping young dude. I'm a little long in the tooth, but that don't mean we can't still help people.
Well,
Um,
you're talking about some of those older times, like even though our parents would be like, yeah, just be home before the street lights come on. Um, I didn't even realize like the 80s was like one of the worst times for a kid. I mean, kids were getting kidnapped like crazy back then. Like, I
mhm.
mean, it was scary. And so you have all
Yeah,
these people now who are so worried about it. It's like, do you know how bad the shit used to be? I mean, things have leaps and bounds better. I mean, I don't know if you remember what was this show? Parker Lewis can't lose.
I
But
remember that show. Yeah.
the star that he was in some movie, and that movie just sticks in my head, where the kid gets kidnapped and he gets raised by this whole other family, and
Oh
they
wow.
find
Yeah.
out later on that like actually he was one of this kidnapped kid, and shit like that used to happen. I mean,
Yeah, all the time. And they didn't have the forensics and the kind of abilities to track people like today, like
no cameras, no cameras in a lot of places. I mean,
yeah.
and if you got pulled over, let's say you were in Nevada and you drove into California, cop run you, they're not that there's nothing they're gonna find because they didn't have a kind of database to be able to track into all these other states. It wasn't connected like that.
Yeah. I mean, IDs, you didn't have pictures on them for the longest time. It was just, you just had a card with writing on there that said that was your driver's license or something like that. So
And even if they were, it was easy to counterfeit a lot of those back in the
mhm,
day.
yeah. Uh, up until the part when they got the magnetic strips on the back of them, because for the
Hmm.
longest time they didn't have. And hell, credit cards didn't have the magnetic strip for the longest time. That's why you had to run it through the that thing, with the carbon paper, because
Hmm.
you had to push it over the thing and back to get the imprint from the card onto the things. Um,
Hell, remember a lot of licenses used to be laminated.
yeah.
Used to just be like paper and a laminate, you know.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, the actually the license plates used to be made out of uh I think Dad said that way back that they were making them out of soybean at one point.
Hmm.
But then the animals started eating the license plates, because it's all farmers and shit. So they say, okay, well, we gotta go back to metal, because these animals keep eating this shit. So yeah, it was crazy. I mean, there's just so much shit. Like, that long distance was a thing, right? Like,
Oh yeah. I
you can
mean,
call
it's fucking
somebody long distance
nights and weekends.
nights and weekends. Yeah,
Hmm.
from your house, no
It'd
cell
be like
phone.
you'd be like your friends calling, be like, "Hey, call me after 9 o'clock. I'll talk to you soon." And then hang up real quick.
Kate, I know Trader Joe's still accepts them because that's where I was working, and that was the last time I think I saw a check was at Trader Joe's, and that was 10 years ago. But yeah, you had long distance. You had to worry about like you had to call after certain time if you wanted to talk
Party
to somebody in
lines,
another.
yes.
You had party lines. Oh yeah, the thing that people don't understand about party lines is like if you're part of a party line, you can't use the phone if the other parties are using the phone line as well. So you could pick up the receiver and you'd hear people talk, and you're like, oh, okay, that's the party line. And I think they got rid of that. Then once cell phones came around, that was it. Now it's just strange for people under the age of 50 to have a house phone. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when I first went into the military, I was still issued a pager.
Oh, you were a pager, nice.
But it was like the newer pagers. It was like the ones where it had the little button, and it was the Nextel. And so
Ooh, those
if
were
they
nice. I remember
called
those.
us, they called us like right away. Like if you heard the message right away, you could pick it up and then click the button and talk back to them like a two-way.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Oh yeah, the bleep bleep. Yeah, I remember what you're
Yep.
talking about. We had those around 99 at the TV station we had.
Mhm.
Our photogs had them. Yeah, we used
Yep.
them instead of using phones for the
Because
cars.
because when 9/11 happened, I remember mine going off and them telling us, "Hey, report back to weapons." And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Yes, everybody report." Because when we were watching, because a lot of the guys, they were all in my room, um, all of our phones and pagers start going off.
Mm.
And that's when we knew, oh shit, this is go time. This is fucking for real.
You know what was weird on the morning of 9/11? I was getting ready to go to work, and I'll never forget because that weekend we were supposed to go to a Saints game down in New Orleans, right? But all the games were canceled. I guess that first week after 9/11. But I got up that morning and I was watching Sports Center. I'll never forget, and there was no mention of 9/11 on Sports Center whatsoever. I know it's sports, but you're talking about like if the country's being attacked, even the sports might, cut in with some news or something, but nothing. I get to the TV station and a buddy of mine's sitting outside and he just looks shell shocked and he's sitting there smoking a cigarette. And I was like, "What's wrong with you?" And he goes, "You didn't heard?" And I went inside and I saw it on all the monitors and all the Twin Towers. And it was just like, we didn't know what was going on at that time, right? We didn't know, is this like the beginning of World War III? What's going on?
Mhm.
And in all that confusion, what did they do? They passed the Patriot Act and they had all this fucking bureaucracy, agencies upon agencies, all these redundant fucking things. And it's just like, and what was it? The Pentagon had lost like 2 trillion in an audit or something. They're like, we don't know. Oh, look, plane. And then, yeah. So, well, I mean, we could go down that rabbit hole all night with the 9/11 stuff, but there were a lot of changes after that, especially the two things that pissed me off after that was having to basically strip down naked in the airport practically. You got to take your shoes, your belt, and all that shit off. And there's that. And the fact that you had to wait like forever.
First it was just the belt and
Yeah.
stuff. And then
the
later
shoe
on,
bomber.
after the shoe bomber, that's when the shoes came in.
Yeah, because the shoe bomber Richard Reed wasn't too long after 9/11 that happened too.
Yeah, it was like maybe 2 years after.
He had a shoe bomb. And so now you got to take your shoes off. That's what, anytime I rarely fly, but if I do, I'm wearing flip-flops. I'm wearing, what is it? Sweatpants and probably a t-shirt. And that's it.
No, I typically wear sweatpants and my Crocs.
Yeah. I am like, I want to be like the Marines. I want to get in and I want to get out. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit there. I don't want somebody feeling my junk. I don't want any of that shit. Just let me get on the fucking plane. And you used to be able to get people could go all the way up to the gate with you, right?
yeah.
And the romantic, heartbreaking goodbyes at the gate.
Yeah, like that friend shit that I'm gonna run and catch her before she flies off to Monaco. No, those days are done.
Yeah, those days are done. No more romance at the airport. And the fact that you had to get a passport to go to Canada, that's pissed me off too. I'm like, are you fucking serious? That's like the 51st state. Why the hell do I need a fucking, well, cause 9/11, you never know. It's like, I'm a white guy trying to go to Canada. Seriously? What am I going to do? Poison maple syrup? What am I going to do? Like, I'm going to like assassinate the Toronto Maple Leafs? What the fuck, man?
I mean, worst case scenario, they'll just keep you over there. Like, we know you're Canadian. Quit fucking playing.
Look at you. Come on. I know you want to say A at the end of your sentences, eh? And you're like, yeah, you're right. I do, eh? Right. I am fucking Canadian. They kept me in the United States against my will.
I mean, hell, half of Minnesota basically already sounds like them. Shit.
I know, right? If you go up to Duluth, like at the north part of the state, oh, that's where it really is. I gotta tell you, Minnesota people, that Minnesota nice is for real. That shit is 100% real, and those motherfuckers can make that kick-ass homebrew beer. Holy shit! They call it beer, but normal people call it liquor because of that alcohol content. Whoo boy! But yeah, they're like,
it's like those hard ciders that are really hard.
Yeah, they probably have like, what is it? What's that wood grain alcohol that people say you drink it, you go blind? You know what I'm talking about.
Like cotton gin
Everclear, Everclear, yeah. They probably have some of that shit in there and some fucking, paint remover, some shit like that, some sort of gas to huff. But yeah, man. I mean, it was a simple. You go ahead. I'm sorry.
You remember Bobby's World? I hear him always want to say, "Oh, don't you know?"
I don't you know. What's his name? Louis Anderson.
Yeah.
Remember Louis Anderson? He had a cartoon, and his father was. They all talk like this. Yeah, it was. There's such a different world too. I was talking to my buddy Ed. We were watching old Bullwinkle cartoons, right? And just like, they do not make shit like that anymore. I know it now. I know what those old people felt like when I was a kid. They're like, man, these kids these days, they don't know what it's like, and now I feel kind of the same way. It's like, yeah, these kids today, they really don't know what it's like, and they're not listening. No, somebody trying to break in your house.
No, they're popping off the fireworks now.
Oh, that's fireworks.
Yeah, it's almost I don't know, unless mine is a little minute behind. They're going crazy out there.
Oh yeah. So we should do a thing for you then, because West Coast now is coming up, right?
West Coast now is almost at midnight. Yeah, Everclear.
All right, here we go. We got this for you. This is for you. It's for the West Coast. Sorry, Mountain. You got screwed. You didn't get the shit paper.
Happy New Year!
Happy freaking New Year, all you crazy bastards on the West Coast. There's your shitter paper. Don't say I didn't get you anything this year. I'm always looking out.
Marcus, you smell like beans and corn. Probably.
Oh, Prop. That's just Prop. Prop likes to make farty, smelly jokes. Oh, Cowboy Kitty. I love you. Love y'all. Happy New Year, bitches. Oh, it's good times, man.
There's the car alarms.
Do you play that game? I played this game in New York and LA, and I play it here too. It's like guess whether it's fireworks or gunshots.
Here in California, it's most of the time it's definitely going to be fireworks for the most part. But where I grew up, I was like, nope, that is definitely gunfire. Yep.
Yeah.
That's gunfire. I mean, where I grew up, even when it wasn't like a holiday and they're popping shit, I was like, oh shit, I hear a 38, 2 9s, AR-15.
Yeah, I was about to say weapons expert would be like, no, that ain't fucking fireworks. Those are projectiles, probably coming this way. Well, I guess this is probably good a time as any to kind of end the show. I guess. I mean, we've been doing this 30 years. How long has it been? You've been here since the whole time, man. I appreciate you. I thought I ran you off there for a second when you accidentally.
I thought I was done too, but I was like, let me keep trying. I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a couple more tries, and then it clicked on. I was like, okay, we're good.
It was destiny, or as somebody says, it was density, but I say it was destiny that you were going to be back on. So,
I think the chat probably maybe hopefully they were happy I came back.
Yeah, they were. They don't like it when it's just me. They like it when I'm when I have guests. So, and I do too. But let's talk about.
That's what I say with Chris. That's what I say on my show. They don't like when it's just me. They're like, oh, where's Chris at? Oh, I'm tired of you.
No, you're delightful. I'm glad I've been trying to get you on, but you've been avoiding me and calling me names behind my back and said I smelled like, what is it, beans? What was it? What was that thing? Oh, never mind. No, none of those things happen, folks. I do want to talk to you about one thing because I haven't got a chance to talk to you about this stuff. And we could probably end on this is what's up with these drones, man? Like the New Jersey drones, and now they're starting to see them more and more on the East Coast, and now pretty much all over the place. What is up with these drones, dude?
I have two theories.
Figured you did.
First theory is, first theory is I lean more likely that this is the case, that it is our own government doing this to be a distraction and acting like, well, we don't know what the hell. Oh my God, what's happening? And they're doing that to try to keep eyes off of things that they got going on. That's where I lean towards. But there is also option two. Well, I guess I got three options. And each one leans to less likely. So the first one I'm like I'm about a good 85%. Then there's I'll give 10% to this next category, which is it is an outside force that is dicking around with us, and they don't really know what to do about it or how to necessarily stop it. Then there's the third option where it is not an outside government. It is an outside force altogether. And
you think like aliens?
You could say aliens. But it could be, I mean, it could be all kind of different things,
like interdimensional beings,
supernatural kind of things going on too. And if that's the case, then everybody needs to be praying to whatever God they believe in, or doing whatever they need to do.
Well, weren't there witnesses kind of like a mixed bag? Like some of them said they saw actual drones, like the propellers and stuff like that. But some of these, they're like, we don't know what the fuck it is. And,
well, we've been seeing stuff like this for a couple of years now where there have been all kind of different aerial phenomenons outside of bases and mostly near military installations. And the military has been claiming they don't know what the hell it is for some time.
Which means they know what it is, but they're not going to tell us because it's probably some sort of like secret stuff that they're just trying to, I don't know, maybe just, do you think they do that? They pull out like some sort of like new technology and scare the hell out of the public with it, make them think it's like little green men or something like that?
Well, I think that they're trying to test it and they hope that they can keep it under wraps. But when people see it, they're like, we still got to finish our testing before we can release anything. So we got to act dumb for a while. And perfect example is My uncle, who rest his soul, passed away, was a major in security forces, Air Force, and part of his job, one of his assignments was he was security for keeping under wraps the stealth bomber project while they were developing it. And so he followed it from base to base to base, from Whiteman Air Force Base to Insular Turkey to back to the States, somewhere in Idaho, and then eventually Nellis out in Las Vegas. And then after he retired there, he went into the weapons industry in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And so um, I know that he oversaw that project following that plane around for decades before they released it and let people know what was going on. So I believe it's a possibility that if he was doing that, then there's somebody else who's doing a similar job now, and this just might be some new technology they're working on, especially since Russia's been getting a whole lot of those suicide drones. They could be trying to find something that can counteract those, just in case it's a threat that we have to face later on.
New Jersey's a hell of a place to do that, though. But because not just because New Jersey people are weird, and they are weird. It's because there's a lot of protected airspace in New Jersey too. It's like one of the most protected airspaces in the country, I think, maybe besides New York. You think this is Project Bluebeam coming to fruition?
I won't rule it out, but the reason why, whatever it is, I know it's government involved, because flying over that airspace in Jersey is so many as classified high value targets. And it's near major metropolis where you could easily harm a whole lot of people really fast. The fact that they hadn't tried to blow it out of the air yet, when knowing that the military's part of their instinct is to, if we even think there's a threat, blow it out of the sky. The fact that they're not doing that, to me, tells me that they're involved and they know exactly what it is.
Meanwhile, down south, they're shooting drones like they're skeet shooting. They're like, pull, because us Southerners, we love to shoot shit. Anyway, you don't threaten us with a good time, and don't give us a good reason to shoot shit. We'll do it.
And especially if it's not that fast. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't tried out their what would it be? I think what are we at now? 6th generation or 7th generation weaponry? Because when the Sea Whiz came out, the Sea Whiz was, I think, 4th generation when that came out. So the technology which they have in the works, and some of which they've been kind of slowly rolling out to different branches of the military. I mean, the Sea Whiz, now that it's unclassified, I can say, it shoots at a little over 2,000 rounds a minute, anti-aircraft gun. So some of the 5, 6, 7G stuff is definitely faster. So it could definitely take out those drones if need be, and not run risk of blowing something up in a way where it lands down on and creates fires or damage or injury.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if Project Bluebeam is in the works. I think they're just trying to do all kinds of stuff to keep us distracted. That's for sure. Like you said, to keep us distracted from the bigger shit. Although this could be like, reverse psychology, where the drones are actually the big shit, but they're treating it as a distraction to not only distract you from the actual that, but also from what other shit that they're doing too. That doesn't sound like fireworks. That sounds like Jack Nicholson.
Oh, you hear it? Yeah.
Jack Nicholson's at the door with the axe, and he's gonna go, here's Johnny, and you're gonna be like, fuck this bullshit, I'm out.
Well, I
So
don't know
it's-
if you saw a story just came out not that long ago where the police were cracking down on some of the fireworks here because it's gotten so bad. And I'm gonna have to show Chris that story. I'm like, see, remember what I was telling you? Y'all were saying I'm being the old man, get off my porch. But they're like to the point where they're like blowing out people's windows in their cars, and like
Yeah.
debris is flying up and hitting houses, getting stuck in walls and stuff. And I'm like,
But
okay,
they
it's
using
going
them
too far.
fucking M80s and shit too. They ain't using that little piddly like black cats, the little pep 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 pep. They're not using those. They're like, you know, they're walking around with Roman candles, shooting them at each other and shit.
Yeah, they're like to the point of like, take a M80 and let's just wrap it together like 5 or 6 of them and like
I know.
literally make dynamite,
Yeah, I was
to
about
that
to say
level.
they might as well be just like lighting dynamite in the streets. They did the same thing in New York too. It was just like pop 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 pop. And you're like, Jesus Christ, man. And it's like, you know, in the Brooklyn street too, you have like the brownstones, which are kind of tall, and it would just trap that sound and it would just echo
Mhm.
up and down the street. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God. I just want to shove an M80 up one of these kids' asses that's lighting off these fucking fireworks, man.
One like
But
here, you can tell where it is because you don't even have it's not that high, especially
yeah,
the area I live in. And you can look over in that area and see just smoke sitting over there, like a couple of blocks away, and you can tell where they're popping that shit at.
they used to do that in Koreatown a lot when I lived there too. It was, you just hear that. You would hear the fireworks and you'd hear the reggaeton bass every time that doon, 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 doon. You would hear that shit a lot, and the pop 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 fireworks and shit. So, yeah, I not a fan of fireworks. I'm pretty
Neither
sure
am I.
that I'm pretty sure the veterans are not. I know the animals are not fans of it either. You know, I wish I could just do like we did when we were kids. We went out to like a gravel pit somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, and we would like throw like bottle rockets at each other. I mean, we were just ignorant children. But you know, at least we weren't on a city street where kids could be passing by and could probably get hit in the eye or some shit like that. Nowadays, it's just like, I don't know, man. I'm not a parent, and I don't mean to judge parents or anything like that, but some of these kids today are just like, oh my God, do you even raise these kids? Or is the kid raising you? What is the situation here in these families now? You know,
Well, the
so
problem out here is I wish it was just kids. These are 20 something, 30 somethings who are still living with their parents who, instead of saving up to move out and buy an apartment or get a roommate at least to get out on their own, they're perfectly fine just living at home with their parents. And take every bit of money I have and put it towards video games, weed, and fireworks.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, because the parents aren't kicking them out. They're not encouraging the kids to leave, right? If anything, they're
Mhm.
encouraging them to stay. A
Well,
lot of times
they're
for
like stay and save up your money, but they're not saving up their money.
yeah, exactly. Like I had a friend of mine, he was like in his mid-20s. He still lived with his parents. You know, we were both security guards at the Hearst Tower, and yeah, he was doing it right. He was saving up money. He had a girlfriend. He was going to get married, but he said, "Look, I got to stay home and save up this money, because if I try to go out on my own now, you know, I'll be living in like a 3x5 cardboard box type situation." You know, he said, "I have to stay home." And, you know, he said, you know, he's a Hispanic, he was a Peruvian guy too. So a lot of the Hispanic family tends to stay, like the age, like Asian families too. They tend to like take in like the grandmother or something like that, you know, and it's kind of like one unit like that. So, you know, white people, not so much. We're just like, no, get the fuck out. Just get
Well,
out
I
of
think it
here.
also the region too, like when you're in that
Yeah.
northeast or the southwest, like California, the New Yorks, Boston, and
You have to. You
Baltimore,
have to.
those cities, because it's so expensive. DC, but
Oh my
like
God, so
if you
expensive.
grew up in like Kansas City and you're 25 living with your parents, okay, you're kind of you're not trying, buddy. You're not trying very hard.
Right. Or you could be scared of the world, which I don't really blame
I mean,
you
if,
there,
if
but
you have
still,
some
but
kind of social anxiety, that's a different thing. But I mean, it is not hard to find. I mean, I know there's still apartments which are only like 400 a month. I mean, you can find something, you know.
yeah, in smaller towns or smaller areas like that where it's a lot more affordable. Uh, yeah, I mean, I would be chomping at the bit to get away from my parents. Not that I hated my parents or anything, but I was ready to get out on my
Yeah,
own.
your own space.
Start your own life. Yeah, have your own space. Make your own decisions. But I don't know, some people are just not ready for that, man. Mentally, I don't know. Maybe that's a product of our society and the propaganda and all the shit that's made us not very strong people in the grand scheme. I don't know.
Thus, also why I feel a lot of people are that's that comfort thing we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're not in the will to push or change things because they're still comfortable. They're just frustrated enough to bitch about it, but not frustrated enough to, okay, what am I going to do to change this?
That's where we need to bridge from getting people inspired to do that. Again, it goes back to what we said. If it doesn't affect me, then why should I give a shit? Until it affects you, then maybe too late, by the time it affects you.
Oh yeah, how many parents out there didn't give a crap about autism until their kid became autistic?
Yeah. They probably didn't give a shit. They were just like, oh, that's probably just some made up science or whatever. And or it doesn't affect me. My kid doesn't have that. And they, oh look, your kid does have it. How about that? Now it does affect you. We have to find a way to impress upon people the dire situation that all of us are in. That they don't maybe it's purposeful ignorance, right? Where they're just like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know, what's in the sausage. Okay. I don't need to know. I like the sausage. The sausage tastes good. Don't tell me what the fuck's in the sausage. It's the same thing with life. My life is comfortable. I've fit into this niche. I have a family that, I have all these responsibilities. I don't have time to get out in the streets and shut shit down when my shit is okay. And that's where we're at. It's like, how do you impress upon people that bad things are happening when they're not happening to those people? That's pretty tough, dude. I don't know how to do that. I mean, without hypnotizing people or like, taking them, kidnapping them and, saying over and over, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. Learn to love people, that kind of shit. So anyway, we should probably get out of here. Do you got any final thoughts, anything you want to promote, anything you want to say? Did you want to, call me an asshole? You can do that. That's fine. I'll totally take that.
No, of course. Just I want to say thanks again for having me on. It's always a fun conversation. I always look forward to it. It's going to be intelligent and then fun, and throw a little crude humor in there and memory
then
lanes.
I show up, and then I show up and fuck everything up. No, well, I tell you, the last time you and I did a show together, it was I was on your show for 420, I think, and that was like a 5-hour show. That was nice. That's one of your marathon ones. I'm always happy to be a part of those, man. Those are great. Now I appreciate you coming on, and I have to be totally honest with you. I'm looking at the screen now. The screen that everyone else is seeing right now is very small on my computer screen, so it looks like you're wearing a bike helmet from where I'm sitting. And this whole time I'd look over. I know you're not wearing a bike helmet. You've got your swag. Your what is it? What do they call that? What do the kids call that now? When you're wearing nice threads.
Your drip.
Your drip, yes. You have good drip. I have post-nasal drip, but that's not attractive. But it was just,
and I'm rocking the Star Wars tonight. So.
Oh yeah. I'm rocking the more cowbell because I gotta have more cowbell. You're gonna want that cowbell on the track. I always have a good time talking to you, Marcus. You're one of the real ones in this space, and I appreciate all the shows that you do and all the information you and Chris put out for Political Matrix. If you're not watching Political Matrix, what are you even doing with your lives, folks? Come on. What you got? You guys are on YouTube and Rockvin. You on Rumble too?
I'm trying to get on the Rumble. I got an extra link now, so I just got to figure it out. And the goal is to in the 2025 to get on the Rumble also.
Yeah, Rumble's weird. It's like some of the shows I'll put on there, like the secret shows, they're just like kind of like, but like the news shows, they do like those. And sometimes they like gaming on Rumble too. That's pretty wild too. But yeah, let me know if you ever want to get that set up. I'll try and help you out with that, because some of that can be a little bit tricky setting up, because you got with Rumble, I think you have to set up your own thing. So you got to put the title, you got to put all the description, you got to put the thumbnail, all that stuff. But I think it's always good to diversify your platforms. I think you should always have more than one, because you never know. You never know when you go get shut down by one of these, censoring motherfuckers. But I just want to say I appreciate you. I appreciate the work that you do. I appreciate your knowledge and your friendship.
Oh yeah.
I'm although the cynical side of me thinks that 2025 is just going to be as shitty as 2024, I'm still hoping against hope that it's not. I'm hoping that some actual good things will happen this year. Maybe we'll get some justice.
Well, it's never all bad. Even if you think about it, even in your worst moments, you could always think of, you know what, but this happened. So there's always something, that you can always hang your hat on that's not as bad. And then also, when you're going through things are always worse when you're going through them than when you get on the other side of it. And so sometimes you can need a little bit of bad to happen before some good to happen. So, as long as we keep our heads up and we're trying to power through it. And I look at the more people can be awakened to what's going on in the system, whether we agree with each other on everything, we could all at least agree on what's going on here is not right and the change needs to happen. Then we can start getting people to move. But if people can't identify the problem, then how do you even start to tackle it? And so, that's where I think we're getting further than we were. And if some people are late to the party, some of these people who are like, you know what, screw MSNBC, and they're starting to come our way. Don't be so quick to be like, well, screw you, because you wasn't here with us at that point. And just, just like I don't get frustrated when I hear channels which are larger than us talking about stuff that we've been talking about for some time. I realize sometimes there's different messengers that people want to hear from. Maybe my voice is too fucking annoying. Maybe I'm too long-winded. I don't know. Maybe Chris is maybe we're both too crude. I don't know. So however you come to that point to getting there, I don't really care. As long as you're making those steps to get there, that's what we mostly care about. And I think and always try to stay positive. And for those faith-based people, hey, try to keep to your morals, try to keep to your faith and all those. And we can all find those different refuges. Some people who don't have faith, maybe they have meditation, maybe they have like a purpose of trying to do certain deeds that are good and positive overall. And I say all just lean into those things to be a positive contribution. And I guess, we look at that and then we roll with the punches. We take the good with the bad. So that's all we can do. And one thing I do want to say is I will be going out there for the inauguration. Me and Chris is the plan to be out there. So hopefully anybody who is out in that area, we get to meet you guys, say what's up. I'd love to probably kick back a beer, coffee with somebody. Some of you guys out there. So if it's a handful of people, y'all hit us up, then we can all find one place to meet up and get to, meet and greet and say hi to some people, and that'd be cool. And other content creators, if you're out there, I definitely like to meet you guys, because we've talked so long, through computers. It's always just nice to actually meet people for real in person. And if things go crazy to what I believe they eventually could, you're going to want to have those relationships to be able to say, hey, I do actually know this person who can help us here, or I can help this person there, and vice versa. So yeah, that's the plan. And look out for those interviews. If you're not going to be there and you just want to check out those interviews, we're going to be doing street interviews, and trying to talk to see where there's some common ground with people who voted for Trump and who support him, and probably talking to some of the protesters and a little bit of everything. So, I mean, we'll know once we get there.
Right on, man. Well, I wish you a safe journey there and back, and I hope your trip out there is fruitful.
Yeah.
It's well said. Well, everything you said, I agree with 100%. All I would say in addition to that is we need to, some of us need to learn how to hone our communication skills. And I'm not saying that to be like, you need to learn how to talk to people. I don't mean it like that. I mean, it's like you said, when people see the light, finally, we can't be saying, well, fuck you, it's too late. It's never too late.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can be too late, but it's not too late right now. We'll take all comers that are who actually mean it. And we need some class traders too. We need some billionaire class traders who are willing to actually put up or shut up.
Exactly.
And say, look, I can't stand the way my fellow person's being treated. I'll use my wealth in some way to help, bring progress instead of bringing more greed. So I hope that happens. That's one of the things I hope happens this year, because we've got to do something, because they're just running over us right now.
Right.
They just keep running over us until we actually do so. And they know we have the power that if we did get together, if we all unified, even if it was just most of us, that we could make a whole lot of changes, and they don't at all.
Nope.
So
nope, not at all.
Marcus, I appreciate you, brother. Happy New Year to you, good sir. What you got going on for New Year's Day?
Nothing. I just glad to have the day off.
It's going to be nice. I think it's going to be a balmy 30 degrees tomorrow. And then for about another week and a half, I think it's supposed to be the highs in the 20s here. Yeah, Daddy likes the
we're
frozen.
Looking at 50s and 60s here.
Oh, so. You poor thing. Yeah, I don't really don't feel sorry for you at all. Well, enjoy your nice weather out there while it lasts. I know you got pretty baked over the summer though, right? You got a lot of heat out there, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was a warmer summer, but for me, I mean, I lived in places a lot hotter than here, so it's not too bad. Think about it, even KC gets hotter than LA does.
That's true.
KC, I lived in Jacksonville, which gets hotter. I lived in
that's Florida, yeah.
Rota, Spain, gets hotter. Sicily gets hotter. I was in Carolina and Humacao, Puerto Rico, so all of those places get hotter than here. So
yeah, I really took for granted the dry heat out there and how wonderful that was, because when you go even in the Northeast and up here in Chicago during the summer, that humidity's got some kick to it. It'll drain you like a vampire. But I'm just glad that it's not 100 degrees like it was during the summer. It got crazy. Well, whatever you end up doing tomorrow, make sure you find some time to eat some black-eyed peas. I want you to have some good luck. Or at least get some greens. you know, whatever works at this point, right? We need to take what we can get. I don't really have any plans tomorrow either. I think I'm just going to be maybe working on some show stuff, maybe watch a little football, something like that. I don't know. But it's a new year, new you, right? It's time to make things happen, make the magic happen. I think we are. I think this is going to be a good year for you and for me, a lot of the creators in this space, and you know, and hopefully for the folks that watch these shows too. I hope all you guys have a good new year, and it starts off right for you. So fingers crossed.
Yep.
Marcus, take care of yourself. Friends, take care of yourselves as well.
Sir.
We will see you Friday on this. For me, I will be taking tomorrow off, so there will be no morning extra tomorrow. I know you'll cry. You'll cry a lot, but make sure you have towels. You don't want to slip and fall from all the crying. So yeah, we'll see you Friday. Meanwhile, have a good New Year's. Enjoy yourselves, and peace and love to all of you. See you guys.